up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up.
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up. But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Oh, man, not the way that you want this thing to go as it relates to the playoff game, but I need you guys' overall thoughts and feelings on the 2024-25 season for the Detroit Pistons. Kay Cunningham said that it's a lot of disappointment, and it stings the way that the season ended, but they're not going to sit by and act like they didn't accomplish something this season. After 17 wins and 14 wins, they jumped to 44 wins, and they make the playoffs. It's historic. The first team to go 14 wins to the playoffs. Those are those Detroit Pistons, and they do feel like they left some on the plate, and they're coming back next year to eat. But let me know what your overall thoughts on this season is. The 2024-2025 Pistons, they go down a 4-2 to the New York Knicks in the first round. They win 44 games, and they had a chance to peak at some points in times at the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. So, hey, that's a wrap from here, LCA. Kool-Aid, Woodward Sports. Detroit turned up tonight, man. Let's go.
Trust your next vehicle purchase to Les Stanford. 50-plus years of success. LesStanford.com.
What up, dope people?
Stick starting this shit off.
Woodward.
Stick starting this off the right way, man. God
and
damn.
it's not a victory show. Obviously, everybody in Detroit already knows. Detroit Pistons fall in Game 6 and fall 4-2 to those New York Knicks, 116 to 113. They had such a good chance to force this to a Game 7. We're going to talk a lot about this game today.
Yeah.
We got to talk about TJ Lang's comments as well. Yeah,
TJ Lang?
We have to.
TJ Lang shirt up?
Hey, you know what? Neil and I think there might have been a couple others from the network who were, we were going to bat for K. Cunningham.
Wow.
We will share the statements later, man.
Wow.
Because I believe this, because during the course of the argument, he kind of shifted a little bit from his original, but I still want to be able to talk about what the original statement was. It's pretty. I see your face.
I can see this is going to be the next annoying topic in Detroit sports.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, second or third segment, stay tapped in, because you guys already know first segment. We got to break down the game. Got a lot of sights and sounds. We got the post-game sounds as well from JB Bickerstaff, Kay Cunningham, and Malik Beasley. There's a lot to like there, man, even though it still stings right now to have seen them not just lose, but give the game away. But it's Wake Up Woodward chat family. As always, you all are the most important part of the Woo Crew production. Let's run up those lights for Detroit sports, man. Let's run up those lights, chat family. And it's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We got KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick up here on the desk, filling in for our guy, our brother, Flannel Sam Reynolds, who is on vacation. Brother, we love you, man. I'm hoping that this vacation makes the pain of this defeat a little bit better for you, man. We can't wait to get you back in studio. But, hey, Woodward Sports Rookie of the Year MVP. What up, though, brother?
Long night. Man. And shout out to Stick, looking out on the Buddy's Pizza. That was absolutely delicious. But me, Anson, Pistol Pete, shout out Pete, let Pete cook all the time. And T-Foss actually stopped in for a little bit toward the end of the game. But no, we had an amazing watch party last night. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. It was a lot of fun. And you just hate how it ended. Yes, I'm still a little bit hurt from last night. Yes, I said it was a push off New York fans. I don't give a damn. I was being emotional. But this Pistons season has been amazing, and I don't think by the end of this episode, I want that to be more of the focus. This Pistons season was amazing. This is more than any of us could have asked for considering the circumstances. And hopefully next year, man, they can take that next step.
Hey, you know what, chat family? I want you all to tell us, what was your instant reaction last night versus what was your slept-on reaction? Because last night there were a lot of people who were hurt, and this morning I'm seeing more people who are like, you know what, maybe I overreacted just a little bit with my comments. Yeah. And so I definitely want to know what you guys are feeling in the moment, because being there in the arena, you could sense, man, bro, that was the most electric environment I've ever been in LCA. And, I'm telling you that when this team really gets going, it is going to be a crowd, and it's going to be an arena that it's going to be a weapon, and it's going to be able to rival some of the better crowds that we've seen in Detroit sports history. And Detroit showed up and they did their thing last night. There's nothing more you could have asked out of Detroit sports fans. And with the players, I do believe this one thing, despite the fact that there are many things more that they could have done better. I do believe that they left it all on the court.
Absolutely.
And that's really, at the end of the day, what you have to ask for every time you step out there.
No, they didn't get embarrassed. They didn't look overmatched at any point in this series. Really, it was blow for blow. It was really a heavyweight fight. And you got to give the Knicks credit in the regard that they stepped up their physicality when a lot of people thought they didn't have it in them. And they got mad respect from me. Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year. You know why? So that was an amazing shot at the end of the game.
Fuck Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. But the Pistons, yes, could they have done things a little bit better? Of course. But overall, they laid it all on the floor, and that's all you want from a young team that's in their first playoff series with this young core.
Yeah, definitely. I just want people to get a little sense of the environment, JB. I don't know if you have some of those videos ready, but we were able to run into some of our friends of the network. One, the legend Rod Beard showed up.
Shout out. I saw that picture.
Yeah, man, we got bro,
my boy came from ATL.
I was in media, bro. I was locked in. We were getting some videos cut up. Me and Travis were communicating. I just feel this. I'm like, oh, wait, that's somebody important. And I turned around. I was like, bro, I got to take the hat off and get this picture.
Right.
I just, out of respect, man, shout out to the legend. And he showed up just to be in this environment, and this was the most he didn't cover it, obviously, but this was the most important and impactful playoff game that he's ever seen from the Detroit Pistons as it relates to him covering them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was epic to have him in the building. He made sure to get around and say what up, though. To a lot of the different media people that he's mentored, a lot of people that, he was once, the senior sports editor and sports editor-in-chief of at the Detroit News. But, JB, we got it's pretty interesting, the beginning of the game versus the end of the game. If you got the Sada Baby one, I got to link up with him pre-game. And
shout out
I asked
Sada.
him, I was like, do you have some time for Woodward Sports? He turned around, he was like, oh, always, bro. Hey, so let's hear from him, and then we're going to hear from Chef Geach, who actually helped with the post-game report.
Listen, we're about to get this one and we're about to get the next one, because everybody who got a brain cell in their head inside the skull part of it, you see what I'm saying? Know that we're supposed to be up 3-2.
Get me
You
fired
understand
up,
what I'm saying? This is what's going on. I had words with Cat Daddy last weekend, but we understood it was basketball chatter, and we made amends at the end of the game and took a picture. He know what's going on. It's real serious down here. We ain't experienced this fully and rightfully since Chauncey and them. Blake came and gave it to us for 1 year. No harm. Them words is kind of crazy, but you know what I mean. He looked out for us, and if we don't get this tonight, it's nub on the teeth. Hey!
Chef Geach, bro, it didn't go down the way we wanted it to, but you in town. What up, though, man?
What up, though, man? I came all the way out here to see my boys make it to Boston, because that's what I was hoping for. I wasn't even looking at Game 7. That was in the bag, but, man, next year.
Next year, it didn't go the way we wanted it to, but you know what? They put up a hell of a season. The fans, they did applaud at the end, but that 2-minute stretch at the end of the game just didn't go the way that we needed it to, man.
God. My God!
Yo, shout out to all of the Detroit legends were in the building, man. All of the local stars, and the Lions were out there. Galore. It was epic to see, man. J-Mo was in the building. And that content absolutely blew up, because it's awesome to see how these teams are supporting each other in the playoffs, man. This is where Detroit sports is. We have arrived here so fast, and I think that that's one of the biggest takeaways from here. Let it sting. Just like when the Tigers. We saw Scooble on the mound in Game 7, right? Scooble, the Cy Young Award winner, on the mound. He left it all out there on the mound, but at the end of the day, he didn't get it done. And I think that in large part is the same thing here with Cade Cunningham. But you saw that this team took the necessary steps forward, and it's growth and foundation that you can believe in. Not like the previous 2 or 3 times that the Detroit Pistons went to the playoffs and got swept. But what's going to be hanging over their head all summer, and all of them stated things of this nature that you hear from the press conference, is the fact that this is going to be something that stings all summer long. And I know that they wanted to get that one, at least a home playoff win for their fans. They wanted to do that. So there was a lot of disappointment involved with that as well. But, I want to be able to get to this audio before we get to the next segment. If we can, we got a couple clips from JB Bickerstaff. We'll start with JB Bickerstaff because you could tell that man, he cares about this. He cares about this. So we'll go both JB Bickerstaff clips. Come back, talk a little bit, and then we got Malik Beasley and Cade Cunningham as well.
And what's been a really competitive series, but what is the overriding emotion in a moment like this?
I mean, it's obviously disappointment. We thought we did so many things well and gave ourselves an opportunity, but it's also a lot of pride. I could not be more proud of this group of guys. What they overcame all year long, the way they worked, how resilient they were, how unselfish they were, how willing they were to sacrifice, for the guy next to them. They gave me the ability to coach them with no pushback. They gave me a renewed sense of purpose in this profession. And I can't be more thankful or grateful to have been a part of this group. Nothing the Knicks did came easy. Right? They had to earn it all. And tonight they just made one more play than we did down the stretch. But I could not be more proud of these guys. And I am grateful to be a part of this team, a part of this organization. To watch them revitalize the fan base the way that they did, to go from where we were at the beginning of the year to where we were now, just from a fan standpoint, an engagement standpoint, you can't ask for anything more than that. So again, we're disappointed because we thought we had more to give, but I'm immensely proud of these guys for all the things that they've done. There's no words for the loss. There's one thing bad, the season's coming to an end. But when you just laid it all out on the line, there's nothing but that disappointment in the moment. That's what our guys are feeling right now. Just the lack of an opportunity to come back together again and try to accomplish something, which is what's driven them all year long.
Coach, can you?
Kool-Aid's example with Terrence Google was perfect in that.
Man.
Yep. Once again.
He did. But he's also got the experience. We're talking about a little bit of that Terrence Schoolboy and everything.
Yeah.
But he's gotten a little bit more experience. He did, but he has experience.
You'll be okay, Stick. They'll be back.
Right. Hey.
Cade is fine. The team is fine. We'll be okay, goddamn.
Yeah,
we gonna flesh it out.
When you're talking about steps in the right direction, a lot of people would have been happy with play-in. A lot of people would have been happy if they missed the postseason and just won 30 games this year.
You knew what this was going to be.
But we saw this squad turn into a team from dysfunction into functional, and they punched their way up, down a couple players, and they still had an opportunity, which to win this series, to push this thing to the limit, and which prompted. Like, these are the notions and the narratives that I trust in and believe in a little bit more, is when the NBA says after the game, Cade Cunningham is a star.
No, absolutely.
It's when Bleacher Report after the game says Cade Cunningham is a star. It's when Jalen Brunson, who just went toe-to-toe with Cade Cunningham, said, look, that dude, he's not, these guys are not next. They're not arriving.
Here.
They're here.
He said
right
that himself.
Now, these are the things that I actually care about because Brunson is the one who's hobbled. Brunson is the one who knows. Think about how many playoff series he's been in now because he's got the experience.
Exactly.
Think about that. He understands the fights that it takes. He understands what he's been through. He just went through this with the Pistons and came away with this notion. They are here now. That means that this Detroit Pistons team took a big step forward this season that nobody quite expected. And they could have pushed it further.
Yeah.
This is why I do believe that next year is one of those seasons for the Pistons where you're going to see demon time for a lot of these guys.
Oh, yeah, big facts.
I do believe that now they understand what it takes. There's a whole lot more physicality, and there's a whole lot more stamina that you're going to have to bring to the table. And what wound up happening is that the New York Knicks outlasted the Pistons, something I did not believe was going to happen. I thought that the Pistons were going to have the youthful exuberance on their side, but the experience, the know-how, the understanding that, oh, yeah, we already know what our legs are going to feel like in the fourth quarter. They don't. We already understand how the refs are going to swallow their whistle. They don't. And Cade talked about some of those components that they had to, on the fly, try to get adjusted to, and they almost pushed this thing to the limit. And those are the components that I'm looking at. If you're going to go down, you have to at least go down swinging. And we've seen JB Bickerstaff say that his standard all year long, even though the goal is to win, if you're playing to the standard, that does check a box for me. That's what one of my biggest takeaways is from this series is that they did more than take a leap forward. A step forward would have been 30 wins. A step forward would have been postseason. This team stepped up on the big stage and proved that they're a big player. Their floor to me next year is the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference.
No, absolutely. I think it's higher.
I do. No,
I think it's higher.
You think their floor is higher?
I think they're.
Hey, talk to me.
No, I think the floor should at least be 4 seed in the NBA, and ceiling should be competing for one of those top 3 spots. They can easily do that. They are right there. They have a young core that they have kind of established as going to be the future of the team. You just have to put the right veteran leadership around them, which they have done to a degree, and you have to go get another scorer for this team that can relieve some pressure off of Cade Cunningham, because that is one of the biggest factors in this series when you look at it in totality. There was no secondary scorer that you could really rely on in this series, and you know, not to say that we didn't have people that played well, but overall, Cade averaged 25 points in this playoff series. The next closest person was Tobias Harris at 16. You need something else.
Let's talk.
Hold on. I don't want to interrupt.
It's not the whole reason.
I don't want to interrupt.
You ain't got to pick it apart.
I got one thing to say, KG. Will you calm down?
All right.
Kool-Aid did an incredible job all season long covering the Pistons. Let's give it up to Kool-Aid, my man.
Hell
Worked
yeah.
his ass off.
Let's go. Come on.
And we got to at least take a pause to show this man the respect that he deserves. Kool-Aid, you busted your ass this season. I don't think people know what you do behind the scenes here at Woodward Sports too, with our social team and keeping all those yahoos in line. But for you to be able to multitask, cover the Pistons the way you did, get in the crowd, talk to the players, share the whole experience, it can't be said enough what you did, not only for Woodward Sports, but for the Pistons. For the Pistons this year. We know 4 years ago these dudes, nobody was talking about them, but you know who was? Kool-Aid.
Damn right.
Kool-Aid's been talking about him for 4 years.
That's why he deserves
Even when
it
we
all.
tell him, hey, man, Pistons suck this year. They've lost 20 in a row. Stop talking about them. No, I'm never going to stop talking. So, Kool-Aid, no matter how we disagree about what's on the court, off the court, dude, you are a fucking championship.
Amazing.
You are a superstar. And I don't care. I'll debate that with anybody any day. So thank you, Kool-Aid, for doing what you do for the Pistons.
Thank you, Kool-Aid.
Thank you, Kool-Aid.
Thank you, Kool-Aid.
Oh, we gotta get to a break, Jay.
You done made my man's emotional over here.
Real talk. It's what Woodward Sports is. You remember when we first sat down in this building? I was closer to 300 pounds.
Yep.
And this has been a life changer, a lifesaver, and something for that me and my family have absolutely rallied around.
Yeah.
And knowing how much Detroit sports means to me, because I was Detroit cooling this thing for about 10 years, and when Woodward Sports came calling, and Stick and Joey and others shared their vision, it was just like, yeah, I'm along for this ride through thick and thin in the sport that they've given in this journey. And the ability to do this, that's what's continued to push, as well as the support from the chat family, man.
Man.
Sheesh, yo, I wasn't prepared for that, but I appreciate you guys, man.
I told JB, I'm like,
do
I'm about to
this
fuck him
without
up.
you all.
I'm about to fuck him up. They're going to think I'm talking about Kate.
It's about the team. It's about the team. I'm so serious. Like I'm grateful for you guys. This is one of the best teams, if not the best team I've ever been on. And you know what? I got tapes to prove it this time.
Oh.
We got tapes. We on wax, man, at Woodward
Okay.
Sports. Sheesh.
All right.
We're friends, bro. We gotta break more of this down.
We gotta say what up to Mad Packs.
Hey, shout out to the good people at Mad Packs. I need one of them Mad Packs pick me ups right now, man. That was a long night last night, but Mad Packs is the hottest new cannabis brand, and they are partnering with your boys over here at Woodward Sports. You know what that means. I'm going to be feeling good all summer long because Mad Packs is taking my game to the next level, and they can do that for you too. High-Low is getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Sorry with the bad voice. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
Is a live resin infused tarantula. Hey, this one's the bomb. Blizzard packs, THCA moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Coming to retailers this month. Stay tuned to Woodward Sports for all the latest updates.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Do yourself a favor, scan that QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, but all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. You know what? If it doesn't hit, they will throw it right back into your account. Hey, you know what? If you bet on the Pistons money line, guess what? That 20 is right back into your account. You know what? If you bet on KG's bet and taking Beasley in the threes, guess what? You're up right now.
You had it by the half.
Right now.
You had it by the half.
KG to thank for that. I'm telling you, scan that QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000, make some money tonight.
Make some money. What up, though, people? Welcome back to this Wake Up Woodward. We're still talking about those Detroit Pistons. The season did come to an end. I'm looking forward to the season exit interviews. I know we're supposed to be meeting with Trajan Langdon sometime in the next week and a half or so. We got that from Pistons PR.
What a difference a year makes, man. The vibes last year at the exit meetings and this year.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I know this season was more than a success, because we get to talk about a Pistons squad who a lot of their conversation, what Kay Cunningham and some of the sentiments Malik Beasley echoed was that, you know what, this is a core that they actually want here. They think just add some necessary pieces around them, and the Pistons do have, I believe, $28 million in cap space. They have some flexibility. They do have some trade assets, but with that $28 million and seeing how much Trajan Langdon, just small little tweaks here and there, was able to take them from 14 to 44, 16 in the playoffs. You know, the notion is, do you cash out on a star, or do you go and you plug some of these weaknesses in your depth on your squad, if you do believe that Cade Cunningham is that guy? And it's going to be interesting. So I can't wait to be able to ask him some of those questions. You guys definitely over the next week or so, get some questions into the chat that you would have liked to ask Trajan Langdon, and I'll try and make sure to get at least 1, 2, 3 questions in at the press conference. So I look forward to it. But again, the Pistons, they go down 116-113 to the New York Knicks. And we can talk about a lot of different things here, but I got to ask you first, what went wrong with the Detroit Pistons? And where a lot of people start is Cade Cunningham, but we're going to talk about him in the next segment. So, you know, especially with a lot of the different comments that I see in the chat as well as on social media. But one of the big things that I saw a lot of people talking about and griping about was what turned out to be a strategy by Javy Bickerstaff to swap Ausar Thompson and Dennis Schroeder in terms of giving Jalen Brunson different looks, keeping him off balance. And Ausar Thompson talked about this after the game, that we were committed to the strategy, and we recognize that we're here to have everybody's back as it relates to doing their job. But everybody from social media to even some media out there, even myself, was like, I believe Ausar Thompson just needs to be out there to defend Jalen Brunson, because obviously that dude was a blanket on him. I know that dude Justin just clipped up a pretty nice graphic with the quote. He was like, I told that dude to his face, this is Brunson, that he made me work. And that's where down the stretch, winning time, do or die, you would have liked to see, among other things, like cut down on the turnovers. I think about the Cade throw out the Duran that Cat stole and want to become a foul. Those type of things you want to cut down. But in particular, when Jalen Brunson's going as good as he's going, it took Jalen Brunson to beat them in that fourth quarter. You would have liked to at least take your best shot at slowing him down for those final 2 to 3 minutes. And I just didn't feel like they did that.
No, absolutely. And we discussed it on the watch party as well. I was kind of in the minority in saying I understood what JB was doing. Doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it, but I could kind of understand it. And I felt like it was more for Cade because you wanted him to play off ball later in the game. That way he can either focus on scoring or focus on assisting the basketball. You don't want him in a position to where he has to do both. And you put Dennis Schroeder out there because he can defend as well. I didn't think he did a horrible job against Jalen Brunson throughout the whole night, but Ausar was clearly the better defender. And the biggest question comes in the third quarter. Why didn't you play him in the third quarter? That was what a lot of people were asking. You did see him in the fourth, and there were stretches where they interchanged them both. But in the third quarter, when his foul count was very, very low, why didn't he get those minutes in the third quarter, especially considering he was giving you energy on offense as well?
I think it's the defensive usage. There comes a time when a coach looks into a player's face and knows he will give me everything until he drops to the floor.
Yeah.
And when you talk about somebody, even like an Ausar Thompson, you know, for a lack of a better reference, you know, when you look at who he's been this year and you look at the start of the season, you look at even the blood clot issues and things, I don't know how much his full stamina was there. This is the most games that a lot of these players have played this season, and he was working out during this, for certain parts, non-contact for certain parts, while he was out for those 25. And I just wonder how much that caught up to them, because I do know that some of the other players are like, yeah, there's a lot more work now that we know has to be put in. Think about how tough they work. We talked about the weight gain, the muscles. We see them finishing stronger at the rack. Everything we were talking about in preseason, we saw it play out in the regular season. But now they understand a little bit more of what has to go into, making this thing work in the postseason. Because I scratched my head. JB Bickerstaff, to me, is a really, really good coach.
Absolutely.
So to pull him for the majority of that third quarter, or to not play him, the only thing I can come down with is effectively he's tired. That was the only thing, because I don't understand the strategy in it. I would have played him a little bit to definitely continue to keep Brunson off balance. He put up 40-plus points.
Yeah. You
got to keep him off balance in a game where when the fourth quarter is rolling around, if he's in any type of rhythm, this guy literally is the NBA's 2025 clutch player of the year.
Right.
And what did he do in each one of these games, this series for the most part? Put up double-digit fourth quarters.
And it's hard to put it on a fatigue issue when you see the energy that he defends Jalen Brunson with. I don't know. I don't think it was him being tired. I don't want to put it on that, man.
I don't know the strategy.
Like I said, I think it was more so for Cade Cunningham to kind of relieve him of that pressure of having to be the ball handler and maybe possibly go get his shot. When you have Dennis Schroeder out there, you get more flexibility for Cade to just, kind of take over the game in a sense. But I don't know. Besides that, it's nothing that you can really point to that really makes sense, because it couldn't have been a fatigue issue. And just when you look at how he played, how he defended Brunson, it made no sense. Like, in a lot of ways, it didn't make sense.
It did, man. Hey, shout out High Def Steph. I'm going to clean up at least the super chats I can see. And if there's any, JB, before we go to a break, then I'll definitely throw it over to you. But I see you in the chat, brother High Def Steph, and I'm going to send that video over to JB Smooth, too. I got to link up with him. I didn't know how much the bass was going to be booming, but I at least want our brother to have his face.
Shout out DJ High Def Steph.
Shout out to DJ High Def Steph, man. And, he said it hurts, but I ain't even tripping. We on a bumper next year. Detroit basketball. What up, JB, KG, Kool-Aid? And I know the whole Woo crew, man. What up, though, High Def Steph, man? Thank you for tapping in. There's a lot of people in Detroit basketball. He says turnovers and a lack of shot making did us in.
And that was another big story that I feel like people aren't really talking about. 0 of 7 from 3 in the third quarter. That kills you, especially when you had the half from Malik Beasley that you had been waiting to have all series long. He doesn't take a 3 in the third. Like, I didn't really get that part of it, but when the offense dried up, it was just it was tough sailing, man. And we didn't see enough of that Cade to during pick and roll. I felt like that could have been utilized a lot more, especially with the night that he was having at the free throw line. But there's a lot of things that you can point to. But that 0 of 7 3-point shooting in the third quarter was bad.
Yeah, the Knicks overplayed the lob connection. It's almost like they came in with, what's the scouting report on the Pistons? And they decided, let's do some things to take away what they do well. And what J.B. Bickerstaff, because I will give him credit for this, yeah, the lob and pick and roll connection wasn't there for the first couple games. But we did see a tweak in like game 3 or 4. I think it was game 4, where they would run the pick and roll. You would see the backside help step up to try and slow or stop or make sure Duran is like thinking twice about trying to actually go for a lob. And what would they do? They would dump it into point Duran, and they would start to feed Asar. Yeah. So they did make the necessary tweak, and instead of them normally getting those points off of the lob throws from Cade to Duran, they wound up just putting almost like, I would call it the hockey assist. So they changed it strategy-wise that way. So instead of having the space and, when people are doing the regular season, they're not locking in that way. But in this 7-game series, this is where legacies are made. And the Knicks players, they knew that they had to, as older players, they knew everything they've invested in this. Yep. Think about how much more is invested in this. Cade is still on his rookie deal, but they just traded 5 picks for Mikal Bridges. Think about this. They traded Duran for a first-round pick that they put in a package to get Cat. You passing up on a shot at Duran? You passing up on a shot at a lottery pick.
Yeah, because they're trying to win now.
Because they're trying to win now. And that's the thing, and that experience, who Tibbs was as a coach, there were some things he did good. And I saw J.B. Bickerstaff, compensate, in my opinion, and adjust well. It's just the Asar Thompson thing. I think if there was one major overarching criticism, it was just the way that Asar Thompson his minutes were managed and utilized throughout the series.
Now, would you criticize J.B. Bickerstaff maybe not taking timeouts at the right time? Because this is something that Anson spoke about on the watch party. He brought up a lot, and I did see it in the chat. I didn't necessarily agree with that, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Do you think, his timeout calling could have been a little bit better throughout the series, but especially in this game?
I don't know. I thought that the timeout situations were largely okay. Outside of that first game where they really couldn't do anything to stop that 21-0 run. Yeah. Outside of that, I thought largely he managed the time of the game really, really well. They had their opportunities to win this game. This all came down, in my opinion, to shot making and taking care of the ball. You had an opportunity to tie it up at the end there. Malik Beasley talked about it. You know what? Let's get into that audio before we get into the next segment, because I know we're going to get a lot more into Cade. So let's go with the Malik Beasley audio first. We'll come back briefly, and then we'll go to the Cade Cunningham audio.
Yep.
Mad about that. Sucks, but, hell of a year. Hell of a year.
Are there any regrets about how it ends?
Catch the ball, make 3. What else? We had the lead in the fourth quarter. I think we could have been better at executing, but all that doesn't matter. Like I said, hell of a year.
I know it's your first season here, and I know Detroit is special to you in particular. You play in this building, you saw what it was like to be a part of a team that has revitalized the passion for Detroit basketball. I know you'll have time to reflect on it a little bit more as the days go on, but how special is it to be a part of this group accomplishing everything that you guys did this season?
In my whole 9 years in the NBA, I've never had this much fun coming to the gym. I've been through a lot of stuff just this year alone, and every day coming in was probably the best thing that happened to me. Coach JB and Trajan did an amazing job making sure when you come in here, it's fun, it's energetic, it's a place where you want to be, and it's definitely a place I want to be. And to be here, my mom's hometown. I grew up here a lot in the summer times. To be able to perform in front of the city is huge, and I'm glad I got a chance to do that. In my whole 9 years in the NBA, I've never had this much fun coming to the gym. I've been through a lot of stuff just this year alone, and every day coming in was probably the best thing that happened to me. Coach JB and Trajan did an amazing job making sure when you come here, it's fun, it's energetic, it's a place where you want to be, and it's definitely a place I want to be. And to be here, my mom's hometown. I grew up here a lot in the summer times. To be able to perform in front of the city is huge, and I'm glad I got a chance to do that.
Hey, shout out to the native Malik Beasley. You heard him
Yep.
there. You could tell they're disappointed, and they talked about it openly. The scenes that are going to play over and over and over again in their minds are that. He talked about it like, man, if I just catch the ball and shoot it. And I'm sure he's confident that he was going to knock that down, and think about what the scene would have been at LCA. But we don't do the what ifs.
Yeah.
And for a team that we need to grow, we talked about the 9-8 Lions. We talked about what the San Francisco game, that loss meant, and how that was going to fuel them and such. This is their first taste of playoff basketball as a unit. They got all the stench of all old Detroit basketball out of here. All of the previous 15 years gone. Dunzo. They brought in new players. We've never seen an influx of young talent like this in Detroit Pistons history. And the closest kind of attempt at a rebuild that you can look at, where you can say like foundationally this is the similar start, it's the Bad Boys. It's a very similar start, even all the way down to the records. And then that third year, after 2 abysmal records, boom, a leap. And then from there, you notice, because Isaiah didn't get Joe Dumars until, I think his second contract in the league. Cade's about to get his second contract in the league, and I do believe that's where you're looking forward to who's going to be that Joe Dumars that they find. But we're going to get to the early off-season outlook. But let's hear from one Mr. Cade Cunningham.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we prove to ourselves that what we have in the room works and can be very successful in the NBA. I think at the same time, we prove that to the rest of the league as well. That when they come play Detroit, it's going to be a dogfight, and you're going to have to play the whole 48. If you get up early on, we're going to find our way back into the game and give ourselves a shot to win every night. So, I think that's the thing that the whole league is taking notice to, and just the belief in the room, in the locker room has grown a ton. Appreciate y'all.
Trust your next vehicle purchase to Les Stanford, 50.
Hey, and I was telling KG, dog.
Fire story.
Bro, hey, I'll tell him on another.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Man,
That's a
shout
good
out
story,
Cade Cunningham, though. But the end of that game, you saw Cade Cunningham walk out to center court, and some of the other Pistons followed his lead as well, and they stood there and waited. And the New York Knicks, as they were celebrating, they looked back. They saw Cade and those young Pistons standing there, and they came over and they just started to embrace, give love. I saw Jalen Brunson and Cade, and obviously in the NBA put that picture out there. They were at half court embracing. But the longer interaction I saw, Cade and OG Anunoby. Oh. And OG was whispering something into his ear and, giving him this and the other.
Typical NBA talk.
Yep.
Come on to Detroit, bro. Come on to Detroit.
Because he did. He has stepped up and he's put himself on the radar now. He's put himself on the map. And now that means you're going to get the double teams and the triple teams. Next year, we can't be talking about that.
No, absolutely.
Next year it has to be solved. Next year it has to be understanding how to utilize when the referees swallow the whistles in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson utilized that well, but that's what comes with time and experience. And that's where, JB, we're going to say what up, though, to some friends, because we're going to jump into this conversation about Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
It's what everybody wants to talk about, especially with him being the star. And what many people are contemplating right now is he a superstar?
Yep.
And so
Did he do
we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Let's get that TJ Lang graphic ready, and as well as Dan Miller.
Dan Miller,
it's two sides of this thing.
Wow.
Two sides of this thing.
Shout out Dan.
You talking about Lions broadcast team at the flagship.
Yep.
TJ Lang, Dan Miller, both a part of Game Day broadcast.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see. But they're talking a little bit of Detroit basketball.
I love to see it, man. Let's go, man.
Who we saying what up, though, to, JB?
Let me clear up these super chats real quick for everyone. Shout out to everyone sending in super chats as well too. $4.99 Dante151. I told Ben Stiller on X, have fun with Boston, and he liked it. The Knicks are going to be dead tired when they face the Celtics.
They might get destroyed by the Celtics.
They might be $5 from nobody. He said, feels like I got kicked in the, eggplant emoji, and then someone dropped a bucket of my own boiling tears on me. Pain, confusion, anger. New York fans were talking crazy, shaking my head. Damn.
Good.
Shout out to Michael for sending in $5 as well. He said, no one goes for 14 wins to a title in 1 year. I'm excited with how this year turned out. So are we as well, too. And finally, $5 from Byrne. He said, victory show, go get them Tigers. Javy is a new
Javy,
man.
the revelation.
Oh Lord, when
our Lord and Savior, praise Javier.
Second play on SportsCenter top 10.
Yep.
Number 2, baby.
Yeah, he went nuts.
What
man.
even are his stats? I got all my emotions out last night. Oh my God! Shout out to Javy.
Hey,
Go Tigers!
Hey, Javy Town.
It's time to hear from Planet Fitness, though.
Hey, Planet Fitness, we all know it's the best gym on God's green earth. Why wouldn't you go to Planet Fitness, man? They offering you everything you need to get your body right, and they doing it for the very, very low price of $15 a month. What are we doing, man? Get in there. Summer right around the corner. Get that summer body ready by going to Planet Fitness.
Get it right. Get it tight. Get it right.
Classic,
get it tight.
by the way. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Head over to woodwardsports.com and click on that shop tab. We got new merch designs coming for you every single week, but I gotta tell you about the ones up on screen right now. You can't forget about those Woodward Tigers as well too. Shout out to Javy Baez. Do we need to start making Javy Baez gear?
I think so. Now I'm kind of regretting the fact that I didn't buy one of those discount Walmart
I know.
Baez jerseys. I posted it online.
It was only $2. I should have bought it. I probably should have bought it. But anyway, we'll make some new stuff up for you. You know we got the LFG Red Wings t-shirts and hoodies still available for you right now. All you got to do is head over to woodwardsports.com and click on that shop tab.
What up, dope people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and you know what, bro? I think this is going to be a weird segment because so many people on different sides of this Cade Cunningham argument that I believe we got to satisfy that like button. We got to set the mood a little bit different just before we jump into the segment.
Damn.
Because we got some comments by TJ Lang that we got to break down that definitely will be kind of the foundation, or at least the starter of this Cade Cunningham conversation. And you know what you would give him. I want to know people's grades for Cade Cunningham in his first playoff series, man.
Okay.
So let's get that graphic up, man. If you have it, JB Smooth.
Oh, which one do you want? TJ Lang or
TJ?
Dan?
We'll go TJ Lang first.
All right.
Yeah. TJ Lang, and you see it there. Hey, JB, why don't you do us the honors?
He said Cade Cunningham needs a Batman on this team. He is a tremendous Robin.
Damn,
bro.
TJ Lang coming out.
That one, TJ. I don't know about that one, TJ.
So Obviously, you understand what the response was on social media.
Oh, yeah.
It was polarizing. It was instant dynamite and fire. I saw it. I was in the middle of a press conference, right?
You got the tweet like, what?
I don't know about that.
What is going on for the content? Two of them things. I was like, microphone, Travis.
TJ,
right now,
what
bro.
is this?
What the fuck? We put that mug out, and TJ Lang, like that, started to respond.
Yeah.
And you know who I saw in there as well?
Who?
Neil Rules in the chat.
Oh,
Shout out to Neil.
cool. Yeah.
He was bringing some good points. And where the conversation went to was that he was effectively saying that he just needs, I believe, a co-star.
Yes.
Like where the conversation tended as we began to kind of talk about this thing was he was like, what? So you don't think Cade needs more help? I was like, no, we all know he needs more help. When you look at these playoffs and you look at the supporting cast of all these other teams, where was Cade's all-star teammate?
He didn't have one.
Where was Cade's star teammate?
He didn't have one.
So you're telling me, though, it's okay for Ant-Man to be able to have Rudy Gobert and judge him accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's okay that Jalen Brunson can have a cat and an OG and Mikal Bridges, and that is as it relates to the team build. But you get there, you build to those points.
Exactly.
And that, to me, was one of the things that I believe was kind of missing. And obviously, so the initial comments is what set things off because there are a large contingent of people who do believe this, who do believe that Cade is more of a Robin than a Batman. Me personally, you guys have heard me for years say, no, he's a Batman, and you guys got to go out there and find a Superman. This is like some Justice League type stuff. There's nobody in the world who was saying that, effectively LeBron James in Dwayne Wade. There was no Batman and Robin. You're talking about a Dwayne Wade who won a ring.
Maybe he was calling Cade
Super
Superman.
Team before. What'd you say, bro?
Maybe he was calling Cade Superman and saying he needs his Justice League counterpart.
Hey, talk to me, man. Talk to me. No,
I'm just trying to drop the one-liner.
I'm from, man, because we just trying to set the stage. We're trying to set the stage right now, and I see some people getting their grades in the chat. But I see Terrell Lamar says a B for Cade Cunningham. I want to ask you guys again, get those grades in the chat. Let's get that poll as well. Let's see what people give Cade Cunningham for this playoff series, because on the season it's an absolute A.
It better not be nothing lower than a B. I know that.
Yeah. On the season, he's gonna make All NBA. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna make one of those teams. It should be second team All NBA. But the way that they do things in the NBA, we understand. He made his first All-Star appearance. And I want to ask people this. When you're talking about All-Stars, when you're talking about judging who Cade is, think about the context that they're doing it and the perspective that they're doing it. First-time All-Stars, right?
Yeah.
Would you have rather had Tyler Herro, who's also a first-time All-Star in this series?
No.
What would have happened to the Pistons had just Cade Cunningham on Miami, Tyler Herro with the Pistons? All-star for all-star, right?
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Same thing.
So when we talk about dissecting who Cade Cunningham is, people are going to have to be real that they're talking about a guy that they know is already levels above other all-stars.
Yeah.
That's where this thing starts. We're parsing who Cade Cunningham is as it relates to the spectrum of greats. That's why the conversation I hear people doing now is like, well, y'all told me he was a superstar. He's just a star. That's what we arguing about now?
Right. Like, it's so dumb.
It is, man. But what's your grade for Cade Cunningham and just overall in the series as it relates to those comments by TJ Lang, too?
For his first playoff series, I get him a solid A. Yes, he could have been better in spots, but to me, that's playing semantics at this point. This man went out here in his first playoff series and averaged, on 41 minutes a game, mind you, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.8 steals, 1.3 blocks. Come on, man. And he had around 5 turnovers for the turnover crowd out there. Oh, he just turned the ball over too much. Only 5 turnovers. So, yes, could he have been better in spots? You can argue that with a lot of people on this team. I mean, could he have gotten better help from some of his teammates in a lot of these games? I would venture to say yes, but not to absolve Cade of any blame, because he does deserve some criticism, but there's only a certain line I'm willing to go, because one, we all knew what this team was handicapped going in. You didn't have Jaden Ivey, who was your second leading scorer the whole year. You didn't have Isaiah Stewart, who we felt was going to make a difference in this series and would maybe be the X factor of the series in terms of his defense on Cat and everything like that. But when you look at just how everything shook out, I don't think you could have asked for anything better out of Cade Cunningham. And I get it. Fans want the superstar that's going to have a flair for the dramatic. They want the clutch player. They want to see what They want to see Cade do what Jalen Brunson did to us last night. And I can understand that portion of it. You want to see Cade go for 40 and go absolutely crazy, but just realize he's not afforded that just yet because he doesn't have enough help. Does he have marginal help? Yes. Does he have enough to win a playoff series? Yes. But in terms of taking that next step, getting over the hump, getting to a second round series, maybe competing for NBA finals down the road, he's going to need more than what he has right now. And that's the thing that's kind of been overshadowed with this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's like how much, and this is where I want to get that line, where do we draw that line of criticism? How much of this is like, okay, since they didn't move forward, is his fault? Or is this a situation that they won the 2 games they did and had an opportunity to push this thing to 7 because of who he is? That's why I wanted to go through the exercise of, let's look at all the All-Stars this year. Mm-hmm. Pick an All-Star. Which one would you want on your team? Do you think that we beat the Knicks if we trade Pascal Siakam for Cade Cunningham?
Not really. Not by himself.
Not at
Not
all.
by himself.
But that's what I'm talking about. We actually had an opportunity here with Cade Cunningham by himself.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. So when people are saying, because I see the $5 super chat here, and I appreciate you, go crazy. He says, with the $4.99 super chat, man, they show me that there's some choke artists, but I'm still going to rock with them. Hopefully they grow from these games. They choked away. And you got to call it like it is. Did they choke it away? They did to a degree.
Yeah.
But if it came at the hands of anybody else other than Jalen Brunson, I'd probably be more disappointed.
And nobody's saying that Cade doesn't have more to learn. Nobody's saying that he's a finished product on his own. I think if he goes in the lab and fixes his 3-point shot, then that's really the final piece to his game that can maybe push this Pistons team trajectory from first round to possibly competing one day. If he can make that small marginal adjustment, the Pistons are in a better position. But he does everything for this team. You talk about the usage rates all the time.
33% career high. And when it was 27, they said that they want to get it down then. It's only gone up 33%. Do you guys know how insane that is?
And that matters. That matters, especially when you have a player at the point guard position that is giving you points, rebounds, and assists. He's up there with Oscar Robertson in terms of his performance in this playoffs.
Chauncey Billups and Zeke.
Exactly. Look at the names that he's with.
Guys in major stats.
And this was a first series. He's going to be fine. He's going to learn. He's going to grow from this, man. But I think it's safe to say at this point, with him being all NBA, with the performance that he had, I think he is a superstar. Now, you can rank him amongst
you think he's already
I think he's already there.
Not budding.
You can rank
win the playoff series first, though?
You said what?
Don't you got to win the playoff series first. That's why I level with people, man. Like
I think the skill set is there.
Yes.
I think the skill set is there. Of course, he needs to win in the playoffs, in the postseason.
It's the same thing as this, though. The skill set had been there, but they didn't stamp him until he won.
No, that's true. But look at the NBA national media, too. We not the ones just saying this shit. People act like, around Detroit that it's just us blabbering out our fucking mouths. No, it's been acknowledged by everybody. The NBA on TNT crew, KD. Like, we could just go down the list of people that can look at Cade with their bare eyes and see, yes, this guy, he's him.
I was at All-Star Weekend. You saw, listen. One of the coolest things is sometimes we don't get the perspective of how big the media scrums are. We just get the perspective of seeing the finished product of the player answering the question at their desk. Bro, when you're down there and you turn around and you realize there are major networks here, and then there are other All-Stars whose press conferences are going on at the same time, but they probably should have took a Blue Chew because they're embarrassing themselves right now.
Keep bringing up Blue Chew.
It wasn't as big a crowd. And what did people keep? Hey, Cade, you think you're the face of the league? Bro, people from internationally, it was insane to see the type of support he had, and it proves itself right. Why? Because he's had the most amount of All-Star votes. I think you have to go back to Grant Hill.
Yeah,
he had more All-Star votes than even Blake Griffin. Man.
Wow,
think about that. No. 250,000 votes. He almost got to 1 million after winning just 14 games, and then where he didn't get the votes to get voted in, what happened? The NBA head coaches. So he didn't win a popularity contest. Mm-hmm. He did win over fans, as evidenced by the fan voting, but the coaches are the one who said that guy got it. And so it's not just the players. I got to sit in press conferences where we heard Steve Kerr say, oh, no, Cade Cunningham is next level.
Yeah.
I get to sit in press conferences where we hear Tibbs talk about Cade Cunningham is the next level. These are head coaches. Javy Bickerstaff. My man was about to go to Cancun, man. He was like, bro, me and my family We're planning vacation.
Yep.
There were other opportunities available in the NBA. But then the Pistons came calling. And you know what I've been pressing them about since the beginning of the season? What was it about this roster? Did you see something when you were in Cleveland? And he always smirked. I knew there was some talent over there. Oh, we all know who Cade is over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we game plan for him. We scout for that guy right there. These are the NBA's best coaches in their league. This is their best players in the league. And I believe that this notion of Cade, I think some people, because of the talent he possesses, because you're correct, I think that sometimes they believe that that is supposed to supersede experience. Sometimes it can. Sometimes it can. But only the select few. I can't find too many of those.
It's not a lot.
Those instances.
It's not a lot. Even Kobe struggled his first playoff series. Like, there's a lot of names that you can just go throughout history that struggled in their first playoff series. For this to be a starting point for Cade Cunningham, I think the Pistons are in a great position right now. Guess what this playoff series did for somebody like Cade Cunningham? It put him on the NBA map. He is now going to be in that conversation now going forward. And, of course, he can grow upon this. Like I said, nobody is saying that this is all that we're going to get from Cade Cunningham. This is going to be the best he'll ever be. He's going to grow. He's going to get better. And you can rank him in terms of the superstars in the NBA. Obviously, he would be lower on the totem pole in terms of the names. But as of right now, his skill set, everything points and dictates to he is a superstar. He just needs the postseason success.
That's it.
That's it.
And I agree 100% with that. All of the averages, the effect on the game. Like, guys, do you know how long it's been since we won playoff game? And we won 2 on the road. They were tight. And that's what I think cost them. They were tight in all of these games at home down the stretch.
Right, which is crazy.
That's the crazy
But
part.
they weren't used to that. We had been in the gutter for so fucking long.
They was like, who the frick are these people in here?
Yeah.
It's been
it's a
empty in
wake-up
here
call,
for some
man.
time.
It's a fucking wake-up call.
But that's where you could tell even when Cade walked in, it was that notion of running back right now type energy. That's what you want from your star. That's what you want from a guy who we believe has the talent, has the skill set, putting up the averages of being a superstar. And this is where this experience right now is one that if he is a dog, I believe him to be, this is going to elevate him to that next level.
No, absolutely.
He now understands what he has to work on. I had the privilege of being there in the press conference after year one and asking him the question of, okay, you talked about at the beginning of the season that you worked really, really hard for this year and you believe you're ready to compete in NBA. What's that perspective now as you're at the end of the season and you got a whole offseason ahead? He said, I thought I was doing the right work, but now I actually know what I have to work on. Now all of a sudden you're in the playoffs. It's about who he is as a workhorse. We talked about this with J-Mo and other people that we believe have opportunities to step into stardom. Who are you in the offseason when you have an opportunity to go get better? And that's what Malik Beasley said. Man, one of my favorite parts of the season is offseason. Cade Cunningham has gone the last couple off seasons and focused on many different things to make himself worthy of this max contract and worthy of carrying the weight of what Detroit Pistons basketball and its allure actually represents. They've been trying to place this on his shoulders, and I do believe he is there right now. And that's why I do believe going into this offseason, working on all the things that going to burn away at his soul and eat away at him all off season. That's where I do believe if he's that dog, he's going to come back next year having learned from
if
this.
he get a
consistent,
consistent
Pistons get their first playoff series win.
Yeah.
In a long time.
No, if he get a consistent 3-point shot, y'all better watch the fuck out. Like, the NBA really gonna be put on notice at that point, man. That's the only thing really missing from his game to me. He has everything else.
We do got some grades here, and then I want to talk about some of the nuances of TJ Lane's comments and some of the things that he floated out there as well. But right now in the chat, I see you guys in just 10 minutes. There's a lot of voting here. 59% of the people who have participated in the poll have given Cade an A. 38% giving him a B. And then only 3% give him a C/D. Nobody's giving him an F.
He better not.
So.
Better
and
not.
I wonder if how much of that 3% of the CD is really just C. I would happen to believe that it's probably even C+.
Yeah.
If there's anybody. If there's even his most ardent detractor, his hardest, just hardened detractor, it shouldn't even be able to give him anything less than at the most a C.
Absolutely.
Or at least a C at the worst. I'm giving Cade Cunningham an A. That what he did on this stage, I'm telling you guys, it's not easy. And he was going up against a squad that's defensive-minded, that's tough, and it's Coach Tibbs. He was running his starters, their best lineups, their best offensive players, their best defenders, their best rebounders for the majority of the game. There was no depth and rotation and this and that. It was just, my dogs are going to go out there. And their experience ultimately outlasted and won this thing because of the usage and that Jalen Brunson was able to carry throughout that game. It allowed those other players to kind of peak at certain point in times and then keep it close in the fourth quarter. Because both these teams, this reminded me of Pistons Pacers. It was a slugfest.
It was a heavyweight fight.
Low-scoring slugfest, and you're exactly right, a heavyweight fight. But some of these in the chat, Cold Soldier says, K can't do it alone. RF, not Batman yet, more like Bateman. Come on, dog. Shout out to the commercials.
Hey, shout out Skydog 722. KG, I gave him a B because he can improve quite a bit while getting used to what it's like to be in the playoffs. And that's the biggest thing here. It's the maturation process of this Pistons team. They're going to learn from this. They got a lot of valuable information, a lot of valuable experience, and they know next time, some of the things that they need to work on later in games to be able to pull some of these playoff games out. So, I think the future is very, very bright for this Pistons team. How do you not think that? Like, considering where we came from.
I'm seeing in the chat, Mr. Big, Mitten Maid, a Sky Dog. These are all giving them A's. Cold Soldier, B+, low A-. Byrne gave him a B+ in the playoffs, A+ on the season. And so there's a lot of support from him. I'm seeing a lot of A's, solid B-. And let me see here. I'm seeing this question from Big Con 51. I want to definitely make sure I pay some attention to the chat because I know we've been giving our spiel a lot this morning and honoring the super chats, but there's a lot going on with the chat family this morning. Thank you guys for showing out. Smash that like button if you haven't already gotten to it. But he says, Kool-Aid, all I have to say is 20 seconds left. Knicks ball, no question who was getting it. 4 seconds left. K passes the ball. The greats with killer mentality want that moment. He's great, need more. Well, this is the problem, and this is why I keep talking about. He is great. And you know how we understand that? Because if he got the same defensive look that Jalen Brunson did, I do believe he has an opportunity to have that. The problem is, what did they do that the Pistons didn't do to Brunson? Brunson didn't get blitzed.
Yeah.
The Pistons played straight up. So it gives them an opportunity to just have to beat one player, gets a little bit of a push-off, and he gets open. K. Cunningham came off the pick and roll, and they blitzed him.
Yep.
Malik Beasley was
every
standing
opportunity.
wide open.
Best shooter on the team.
The best shooter on the team. That's the right basketball play. If K tries to shoot that out of a blitz, like what is he supposed to do? Like this is not NBA Jam.
You're right.
He don't
like,
just
come on.
Oh,
you can't even do that on 2K. If you get double team, you missing that bitch.
Bro. That's the component of it that I believe often is missing from these conversations. K got defended like he was the best player in the series.
Yeah,
that's the truth. Whether he was or wasn't, that's what the Knicks deployed because they believe if you stop him or if you disrupt him or if you get the ball out of his hands, then bad things will happen. He made the good pass. He made the right pass. Beasley talked about it. All I needed to do was catch the ball, and he just had his eye on the rim a little more than making sure you secure it. We all know it. Our coach tells us from Pee-wees, especially if you're a shooter.
Yeah.
Catch the ball. It's the same thing in baseball. See the ball into your hands, and then see the ball into the rim.
Exactly.
And that let them down. These little things that let them down. And that's why I say these teams, they already knew after the game. They said Tobias Harris was the one who entered the locker room and picked them up as the unk and the vet of the squad and showing them the way, man. Got them their playoff suits and all of that. And that's why I'm encouraged about what this squad will be because they are not satisfied.
No, they're not.
They're not.
You only done pissed them off more.
That's what I'm saying. So they're going to go and they're going to work. And I do believe that they're going to get this thing done. I'm seeing a little bit more in the chat before we get a little break.
Yeah, we got to read off Sticks because he's been a big part of this. Stick gave him an A on the season, but a B- in the playoffs. And I feel like that's fair.
What?
I feel like that's fair.
That is 100% fair.
I thought he would grade him worse for the playoffs. No, that's fair, Stick.
The
that's
grades
fair.
put a lot of his comments in proper context. Even if I don't agree with all of them, I know now the framework in which it is in, and it's exactly what we keep saying. The Knicks treated K a certain way. Surprise! If you think next year is going to be any easier, it's not. If they know we can make K less than human, a little less than superstar by doing this, he's going to continue to get these looks, which means he has to meet the measure of the criticism that people like Stick and others will employ at him because that's the measure of the player that Cade Cunningham is showing himself to be, like you said, talent-wise.
KG, got a question for you while we're on the Cade topic.
Yep.
That last turnover, whose fault was it, Cade or Beasley?
I felt like Beasley could have caught that. His hand got on it. He just couldn't corral it. Cade, I mean, it was a rush pass. They didn't have a lot of time. I felt like he got the pass to him good enough to where Beasley could have did something with it.
Very similar to Josh Reynolds in an NFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
So quit blaming Goff for the loss.
My man said, I'm sitting at the table with Goff. And he found a way to utilize Cade Cunningham to help out Jared Goff.
To prop up his golfing propaganda.
I'll allow it.
That's stick, man. That's stick.
Stick is passionate about the Pistons. That's
it's a good comparison.
Like my entrance into this network was literally like Stick, myself, and Stick, Joey, and myself geeking out, and others geeking out over the Pistons. And it worked good. Yeah. but that's what it was. I know the passion. We were there front and center for all the Cade Cunningham coverage.
Yeah.
Interviewed, Casey here when they broke the news. We got the news broken first that Cade was going to be that pick. And so it's like, trust me, I see it. And I believe, like you said, the talent, the superstar talent is there.
Every metric says that he is that.
And that's the thing. I think right now it's just it's a fight between multiple things, okay? We see the talent's there, but he's going to have to get the experience. He's going to have to continue to have to work, and Trajan Langdon is going to have to absolutely cook up. I don't care if it's savvy Trajan Langdon like he did at the trade deadline, or if it's him believing, you know what, we do got to take a big swing.
Big swing.
But I do trust Trajan either way that this thing goes down. But let's take another one real quick, man. Say what up, though, to some friends. And Arf, I appreciate you. He said, this show is a pleasure to listen to, man.
Hey,
this is
shout
not
out,
easy, man,
hey.
because we do believe that the Pistons, we all pick the Pistons to win.
Yeah.
So it does feel disappointing, just like they stated too. But there is a lot to parse, a lot to like, a lot that I believe is going to, as we move on next year, you're going to see this team have made, from the beginning of the season, made the necessary steps and answered a lot of the questions as it relates to the weaknesses that undid them against the Knicks.
Yeah, this is the first chapter in the Pistons story, y'all. Stay tuned.
Yep. Hey, what up, though, JB? Who we got to say what up, though, to?
You got to send over to me for Jars.
Hey, some weed.
Shout out to Jars because May 3rd is Deli Day.
This morning.
Man, I need to. Shit.
You kind of need to after last night. I'm telling you right now, to kick off their full deli style experience, Jars will host Deli Day on May 3rd, offering a stacked lineup of in-store promotions. Customers can receive a free eighth of flour. That's a $20 value. Take advantage of their BOGO deals on deli-style flours up to an ounce, and the first 100 customers will score a free half an ounce. So they're just handing out ounces like Oprah right now. I'm telling you, the date marks a significant milestone for Jars as it's their anniversary of the retailers opening their first stores in Detroit. A fitting tribute to its roots and continued evolution. For more information on Deli Day and participating locations, head over to jars.com or check them out on their Instagram right now at jars_life for more updates.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
Oh. I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
Attention sports fans. Don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni Network for his offer of top-notch injury advice. Guys, you got to trust the person that D-Mac does, because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 426-9944. Oh man, yo, and we are back. It's been a show. It's been a show. I think it's been healthy too.
It has.
There's a lot that we got to talk about. There were a lot of narratives that Cade Cunningham could have put to rest. I believe that we see now that our conversations because of how this thing ended. These are the questions that I do hope rattle around in Cade Cunningham's head all offseason as he's working to take that next leap towards superstardom. He was a big part of the reason why the Detroit Pistons were in this game, but he could have been a really big part of the reason why the Detroit Pistons shocked the world, shocked the Knicks at the very least, and did what a lot of Detroit Pistons fans knew they were capable of. They proved that, but they fell just short. And, you know, we could continue on in the Cade Cunningham conversation, but there are some other notions here as well, man, as it relates to the Detroit Pistons. And I want to be able to ask you guys, is everybody pretty much on the same page that the season grade for the Pistons is an A overall?
Oh, yeah. A+.
Oh, yeah. Huge improvement.
Hey, what up, though, Voice of Reason, JB Smooth? What was Sports MVP in the TD booth?
I mean, it's definitely an A for me. It's a huge improvement from last season where you had, 14 wins to now, obviously, you got a playoff win that you haven't seen since, 2008? Like, you got to be proud of this team, even though they didn't, do what needed to get done for this game to push to a Game 7. You still have to be proud of this team regardless, even Tobias. I'm still even proud of Tobias. So I got to give credit where credit's due.
Look at that. JB came around on Tobias. That's how you know.
Still want him off this team. But anyway.
I got to throw it over to Cavassier Chase as well, just your overall thoughts on all the conversations you've heard this morning, but ultimately the Detroit Pistons, your grade for them on the season and the playoffs. Your grade for Cade Cunningham, his season in the playoffs. I know that a lot of us, his season for me is an A+.
Yeah.
It's an A+ for the season. For the playoffs, I give him an A.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cade and the team went out there and proved that this is they're no longer like the doormat in the league as they have been in previous years, and Cade is showing out and showing that Detroit has a star that you can believe in, and not only is he showing everyone here locally who maybe had doubts in him, but now the rest of the league, other superstars and other national media pundits are recognizing and acknowledging Cade Cunningham for his talent, his abilities, and next year I think we're going to continue to see those types of leaps. I think he's on that SGA path he was on a few years ago, where you're starting to hear the rumblings, and then all of a sudden, look at him now, taking over the league basically. So, I think we're just a little bit away from that, and then who knows who ends up being, Cade's Jalen Williams, and if we can get him a Chet Holmgren in here as well too. But I think we have that. I don't think there's anybody in the East who can really go toe to toe with us.
Get Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That was TJ Lang's suggestion. He was like, what about Book or what about Giannis? I was like, if Book was here, Cade ain't his Batman. Cade, this is Cade's team. If Book was here.
Right.
I like Book, but this is Cade. If Giannis was here, it's a little bit different nuance, but it's still star.
Yeah.
But Cade would still probably be the one to dominate a lot of usage.
Because he's the point guard. I feel like this would still be Cade's team, but Giannis would be the best player on the team at that point. Yeah. I think it's safe to say that.
Definitely. I see Hoof Hearted in the chat. I got to shout him out. He threw the bait out there. Cade is like LeBron light. LeBron was never clutch either. I'm just saying this to troll and see if anything sticks. He put anything sticks. I wonder.
Y'all LeBron shit off, dog.
I ain't gonna lie.
Man, it's been reignited.
I had to walk back so much because of all the same arguments. I was there at the beginning. I saw LeBron play in high school.
I used to be a hater.
He was at Redford. He came up here and he got beat.
Right.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Michigan beat that tail. Shout out Deion Harris. Man, oh my gosh, there was nowhere to stand, dog. But all of it, man, from that time all the way through the beginning of his career until he ultimately took us down, all the arguments that I heard against LeBron for Pete fans who did not like him and did not want to necessarily acknowledge, even though we knew inside, it's the same stuff right now. That's why I stated, do people understand? When you are criticizing Cade Cunningham, the type of criticisms you're hurling is the type of criticism that you're saying, well, I want him to be a perfect superstar.
Right, come on, man.
This ain't no Vegeta stuff.
LeBron and Jordan took 8 years to get their first championships, bro. What are we talking about? It's not a right-away process. This is only year 4 and really year 3 for Cade Cunningham because he only played 12 games in year 2.
And I love Zeke. My all-time favorite Detroit Piston is Isaiah Thomas. And I didn't really get to see him play until later in his career. Got to see a little bit of that last championship and then the hobbled season after that, man, unfortunately. But where did it go in the chat? He said that, you know what? he got to play with 5-time All-Star center Bill Laimbeer. Just wait till Cade gets that big guy, and that's where you want to see Jalen Duren take necessary steps forward. You want to see them be healthy, because what's one thing we haven't talked about? Isaiah Stewart. When we talk about the levels that Cade has had them in position of, Isaiah Stewart wasn't there. And this team was still in a position to win almost all of these games.
Yeah. And although they was able to contain Cat, in a couple of these games, last night in particular, he ended up fouling out. And even before that, he wasn't really aggressive in the fourth quarter. It was the Jalen Brunson show. But they did a good enough job to where you could have got by with what you had. But Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, absolutely would have been a huge difference for this Pistons team in the playoffs. We all know that. Like, that was a key matchup. We all took him as a possible X factor in this series.
Think about the defense at the rim. It would have
made
a difference.
Way better.
Just we need the minutes for him to go in there and just battle with Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Those little things make huge difference.
Maybe you don't get as many backdoor cuts with Isaiah Stewart in the game because he's coming down with the rebound instead of, it going to Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges or somebody like that. So.
Kool-Aid Mike G says, Kool-Aid, K needs his sidekick like Black Arrow has a sidekick. And he does, man. I mean,
right.
I believe that last night a lot of the rash, hurt. I'm just going to call it hurt. It was just exactly that.
Yeah.
A lot of disappointment for the fact that the season has come to an end. But a lot of what Detroit Pistons fans have either experienced or if they're not old enough, they heard about. I'm sorry. Those flames are now stoked. Those flames are stoked. And that's not going away anywhere. And it's because of who Cade Cunningham is as a player. It's because of what J.B. Bickerstaff proved himself to be as a coach. It's because of what Trajan Langdon, who should win Executive of the Year, has proven to be as the leader of this Detroit Pistons basketball operations. And that, to me, excites me for this. I want to be hurt. It was disappointing. I didn't want to leave. I didn't leave that arena until 2 a.m., bro.
Yeah.
I'm so serious. We walked around the court. We did other content. We talked to other media. We got some other stuff for articles that's going to be coming out. And then we just kind of sat, and we were like, dog, man. And that's the same feeling that you get from the players. That's what you want. As passionate as we feel, as hurt as we feel, is this team identifying with where we are? Because we want more next year. And you know what? They want more too.
Hey, and guess what? Your owner is on board as well.
Hey,
he did a press conference before the game. He went up there and said, this team is not done. They are far from finished. And he looks to be able to improve this team in the offseason. And I think that's huge, just coming from where the hell we were 2, 3, even this past year. Like, what this Pistons franchise has been through, and for the turnaround that Tom Gores has really, he's become one of the most beloved owners in this city, and he used to be the most hated. Even more hated than the Fords, even more hated than Chris Ilitch. He was public enemy number 1 in this town for a long time. And in 1 year, we have changed our fucking tune. But it's because of him taking responsibility, but not only doing that, putting his money where his mouth is and getting the right leadership structure in here so where they can have a future and really have a run at this thing, man. Shout out to Tom Gores. He deserves some credit.
He's competitive too.
Yeah.
He wants to win everything, and he wants, when people show up to LCA for the product on the floor, to be what gets the arena the loudest, not the people that you show on the screen.
Yeah.
That should just be appetizers. That should just be, oh, here's your drink refill. That should just be, hey, that person at the bar just ordered you this drink. That's what the What Up Does and Sean Calvin on the screen and Dan Campbell, that's what that's. Dan Campbell I can kind of understand.
Right.
But you're here to see the Detroit Pistons and this team win. And I know this Tom Gores is going to put this team in position to make the necessary moves. That's what he had to learn as an owner, is as overzealous as he is, and as in his businesses, he gets his fingers into his businesses and wants to be someone who micromanages and tries to get them to success. But he said he finally realized that it don't work that way. That's why he tried to bring in Arn Tellem, Ed Stefanski, Stan Van Gundy. Then when he did that, I went and I was, shout out to Michigan Sports and Entertainment. They're still doing some things around, but they were pretty big during the time. And I got my first foray into Detroit sports writing then. This got to be about maybe 7-8 years ago, and I before that, because it was SVG.
Yeah.
And I posted this article on Tom Gores. I got flamed for it, absolutely flamed for it. But I said he's learning. He's finally stepping out, hiring basketball minds, getting people who are at the top of the profession, cutting a check, and literally going away and keeping good relationships with the players.
Right.
The players are coming here, and he's doing everything he can to try and enrich them based on what they're saying that they want, with all the off the court extracurricular things. building this practice facility and all that type of stuff, which is state of the art. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he's been evolving. Did it take a little longer than we wanted?
Yeah.
Definitely did.
A long time.
Is it what we deserve as Detroit sports fans? Not at all.
Yeah.
But now that we're here, I do definitely want to tip the cap, because why not motivate this team and the owner to be able to go all the way in? And I do believe that this playoffs, you got to believe that it absolutely, if you're not building, if you're in the Pistons organization, you saw something and you experienced something you haven't felt in almost 20 years. I can't even say 17 years. People wasn't like that in 08 and 09. No Chauncey Billups, AI.
We knew the going to work Pistons. It was coming to an end. It was an ugly end too at that. A very ugly. I remember there was moments where Tayshaun was getting booed because he didn't want to be here. He wanted to be in LA, and the fans didn't like how that went down. It was a lot surrounding that, and we took a long time to get here, but for what Tom Gores has been able to do, bro, I'm ecstatic, bro, because he finally stopped giving a fuck about the PR side of it. He stopped caring about, we just do good community work and that's it. He started caring about the basketball portion of this thing. And now that we got him on board, we got Trajan on board, you have a young superstar, N.K. Cunningham. I think you got everything you need. All the recipe is there. You just got to cook.
And I will say this. They believe themselves to be a community asset. And he has been.
No, and they've been great in the community.
He has been focused on winning. It's just a matter of the structure that it takes. I believe that he thought, okay, I got my guys in place. But what wound up actually happening is he wound up realizing, I got to go and get, because what's been missing from this organization for a long time? A president of basketball operations.
Yes.
For a long time. A long time. Ed Stefanski didn't hold that title, though he held some responsibilities. Arnone didn't hold the title, though he held some responsibilities. Even Troy Weaver, and go back and look at the original articles that came out, was brought in as an assistant GM, never given the power. Now you have somebody who understands the dynamics of running an organization. Not just, I like that player, I have a connection like Arm Tellum. No. What did Trajan do? He went and brought in Michael Blackstone, who understands this new CBA, the second apron, and contract and cap situations like the back of his hand and twice on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Those things matter to the health of your overall organization. And finally, Gores, whoever got through to him, got to a point where he realized, because he's been doing it little by little, getting to this point. You can see the steps. And now he realizes what he needed, and not just brought in a president of basketball operations, but then went and got Melanie Harris for the president of business operations, saying, you know what, separate this. We don't really need Trajan to focus on the business aspects of these things.
Right.
He can just focus on what this organization needs
Basketball.
and the voice of the team from his position down. And look how masterful it was at the trade deadline getting Schroeder. All of the dogs and horses in that front office that Trajan brought in, they did what they were supposed to do. And that's where you tip the cap, like you said, the Gores doing what he's supposed to. And finally, though, despite me saying he put in the right efforts prior, he put in strong efforts prior.
Yeah.
Now what you're validating is the fact that he's put in the right effort.
Exactly. He needed to do a little bit more. And that's one thing that, we've said about a lot of people in this town. You can do a little bit more. And that's what he's been able to do. But a big part of this is because of the culture change. You had to get that losing stink off of you. You had to realize that just because we won 14 games last year doesn't mean we can't get over 28 this year. That was the conversation. Do you remember that, dog?
Yeah.
Like, we was just saying, bro, if they can get to 25, we'll be happy. And then as the season go along, if they just get to the play-in, I'll be ecstatic. They were a top 6 seed in this fucking league, bro.
Hold on.
And they were right there with the Knicks, man, right there.
And I see Organic Lindo. He says he appreciates JB for setting a good culture, but Cleveland was right in terms of him, the adjustments and whatnot. Hey, do you understand what JB Bickerstaff did this year with far less All-Stars?
Yeah,
if you
come
guys
on,
don't
bro.
understand that Cleveland failed last year, you got all them All-Stars, you got them lottery picks, you got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, with Darius Garland.
Yep.
What are you talking about?
Right.
That's on the players. You had the dogs and the horses. You give Kay Cunningham one of those players.
Shit.
Give him Evan Mobley.
Shit.
They're getting past the Knicks.
Come on, bro.
Trust me. I appreciate him because he's one of our regulars.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that one I got to call a little bit of cap on. With my cap off. Man.
Right.
Just straight up, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, that one to me is one where I don't know if we even win those 2 games and have a chance. They blew a couple games there. I don't know if we have those
1 and
chances
4
without JB Bickerstaff as a coach, especially seeing how much he's changed it. I respect Dwayne Casey as a coach. He did make the playoffs, the last playoff appearance before this one, but he couldn't quite get things churned right with even a Kay Cunningham and Jeremy Grant and a Kelly Olynyk. They had the right vets here with Kay Cunningham. They couldn't quite get it done.
It's the culture change. It's the X's and O's. I mean, defensively, it's been a revelation for this team. For a long time, we was one of the worst defenses in the NBA. He turned that around in 1 year. And it goes down to the simple shit, too. You remember Kool-Aid where you were saying when Monty was in charge and they would have practices, they wouldn't even fucking play music in the practices.
No,
it comes down to even shit as simple as that, bro.
And
like,
there was no passion
his relation to the players has been unmatched. Like, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there was less passion and aggression in the individual drills. That's the portion of practice that we get to see. Obviously, they're not letting us see the plays and such, but we get to see the individual workouts and some of their group workouts as well. And there was so much more passion this year, so much more aggression, and you saw it. I see some people who want Jordan to take that next step too, and he has to. He absolutely. I see Super Bowl. Wilson says Jordan needs to develop a couple go-to moves in the paint. He definitely does. And I see other people. A-Dis411 send Duran to Hakeem Dream.
Oh, I would love that.
He has to.
That's the next evolution of his game. Get you a 14-footer that works.
I settled with you, Organic Lindo. I appreciate him so much. He said, all right, I may be overreacting, but the rotation decision still got me hot. LOL. They got us all hot. That's what we started.
Yeah.
We started with the rotation decisions before we even got to Cade.
No, absolutely. That was a big storyline in last night's game. But overall, I wouldn't put too much of this on JB Bickerstaff because he made every possible adjustment he could have made in this playoff series.
But what grade do you give JB Bickerstaff as we're continuing to kind of recap this thing? Obviously, for the season, I'm giving everybody A+.
Yeah,
but
A+.
for the playoffs,
I give him an A- for the playoffs. Because I felt like more times than not, he made the right decisions. And I get that they had a game plan. They wanted to stick to it. They felt like it would work. And it did come down to literally one last shot. Like, Jalen Brunson just made an amazing play on Asar Thompson, and he made the shot. But the Pistons very well could have won this game if things had went the right way. So I'm not sweating JB Bickerstaff, bro. And, you know, me and Anson kind of got into the talk last night. And I didn't really even want to talk about, you know, if he doesn't get a playoff series in the next couple years, will his job be on the line? I'm not even entertaining none of that shit right now.
Yeah,
he's everything that this Pistons team needs, and he's been at the forefront of this change. And I'm good. I'm chilling.
Because I'll be fair with you, I was going back and forth between a B and a B+ in the playoffs. I gave him A+ for the season. I give him a B+ though.
Okay.
Because they were without Isaiah Stewart. I don't know how much I weight Ivy because who this team wound up becoming in large part happened, without Ivy there, though he contributed to some of the success that they had early with their foundation.
But you got to look at the whole series, though. Defensively, this team was immaculate against the New York Knicks. They struggled for everything.
There's only two reasons. There's a couple reasons why I give them the B+. Not for the struggles, because the New York Knicks, they were the better team.
Yeah,
they had the dogs. Jalen Brunson proved to be the best player in the series.
Wow,
with Cade a close second in my opinion.
Yeah,
but it's the first game of the series, the 21-0 run. This is the first game for your team, and I do believe that an experienced coach like JB Bickerstaff, along with your vets, they have to be the biggest difference makers in that game. And when you have a run like that, that was very crucial to setting the tone of this entire series.
Absolutely.
And what followed, all the other games were like that. Big leads or leads that they would have had to protect it, and they just didn't get it quite done. And that's where I do believe that I was like, man, do I give them an A-? You know, I believe if they would have won last night, probably give them that A-.
Oh, A+ if they win last night.
And that's where, for me, I give him the B+, because I do believe there are some things to change in ways that he could have helped. We talked about him being the tone setter and changing the culture here. There were ways I do believe he could have better helped them in that first game and in this last game, strategy wise, especially when you consider the SAR thing. So it's
I received
SAR
that.
minutes, and then that first game, not able to stop that run, or being able to score, or being able to stop the New York Knicks.
No, I received that, but my counter to that would be players got to play too. There's only so much that JB Bickerstaff can do over the course of a game. If the game plan was there, and even pointing to that game one, the Pistons had a advantage in that game through 3 quarters of basketball. Yeah. It was that fourth quarter that started off with the 5-second violation. You started getting some really bad turnovers from this team, and you saw that this team was relatively inexperienced in moments in which you close, man. And I feel like if you could have got better play from a lot of the role players and veterans in that particular game, then they would have pulled that game out, because they were really in control for most of that game. But to your point, I do receive that. Yeah. Yes, he could. There were some things he could have done better.
Definitely, but B+ for me, A- for you on the season, on the playoffs. A+ for him on the season for me. And you know what? I'm seeing, especially some people in the chat. I want to know what you guys' feelings are too. What's your grade for JB Bickerstaff in these playoffs? And I do believe this. The notions of like the Cleveland stuff, I don't believe any of that.
No,
at all.
I don't either.
I saw this team take a step forward this year. I saw them take, the New York Knicks best punch, and you heard the Knicks talking about it all series, and you heard what they said in their the post-game press conferences, and that is largely because of who JB Bickerstaff has been to set the culture and get this team ready on the fly to go. And that's what I do. I tip the cap greatly to who he is as a coach, as a mentor, and as a coach to bring in guys like Luke Walton, who was a former head coach in this league. That, to me, shows the aspect of the ability to delegate, the ability to trust, the ability to not try and be the best guy or the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
Another coach in the city that we talk about like that is Dan Campbell.
Yep.
And that, to me, I look forward to next season. I feel like I'm going to be giving him and Cade Cunningham A's for their postseason grade.
No, absolutely, man. Worst to first, this man brought this team.
Let's say what up, though, to some friends, and we'll definitely get back on the other side of this thing. I know people want us to talk about those victory Tigers, but I definitely want to just a quick kind of early off-season outlook on these Pistons. Maybe spend about 5 minutes, and then you want to talk some victory Tigers?
Yeah, why not, man? Why not? I have something for the Pistons. They have to re-sign one of these players. Have to.
JB Smooth, who we got to say what up, though, to before you clean up any super chats?
We got to say what up to Buddy's Pizza. And I believe there's one super chat I got to clean up from Dante151. He said, also, we can blame Drake for giving us that Drake curse that makes your team lose.
Yeah, fucking
Screw
in K's
him.
flip-flops, man. What is he doing?
Goodness.
Fucking in K's flip-flops. What type of grown-ass man takes a kid's flip-flops and fucks in them? Man, that's light skin shit. But anyway, go ahead.
Gosh, man.
That's wild, bro.
Goodness. Hey, you know what? The best pick-me-up, especially for lunchtime, if you're feeling a little bit down right now, it's Buddy's Pizza.
That shit was smacking last night. Shout out to Stick for providing it. But, man, that Buddy's Pizza, it was extra. Like, we was talking about it on the broadcast. Like, Buddy's is always good, but they put the extra love in that batch last night.
Sauce,
that
man.
shit was fire.
Hey, absolutely fire. And I had a couple slices. Hey, they're waiting for me at home. I'm going to go home for lunch, and I'm going to, wallow in my sorrows. But, Buddy's
Sorry,
Pizza.
drown it in grease. That's all you can do. That's the best way to solve it.
The ultimate pick-me-up is they've been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946. 79 years later, they have 22 locations in this great state of pure Michigan. And fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards to earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. Download the Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning today. And while you're working towards those free pizzas and other promotions, add some Detroit style to your next meal and save 10% right now off your entire order by using promo code 10MEAL. That's the number 10MEAL. Buddy'sPizza.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe it? Dallas, here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, you know, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, shout out to the good people over at Mark White and Associates. And listen, you looking for your dream home, man, Mark White is the place to go. They will get you in your dream home very quickly. And if that ain't enough for you, they'll give you $5,000 off of your closing costs. 5 stacks, Woo! 5 G's, man. You know what it is. Cash, money in your hand, man. $5,000 off your closing costs. Call Mark White and Associates. You said what?
I can flip that at Caesars.
Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or go to markwhitesales.com again in my Flannel Sam voice. 248-290-8242 or go to markwhitesales.com to make your housing dreams come true.
Mark White.
They say if you've been done right, you've been done by Mark White.
Hey. That sounds a little dirty, but hey, I'll take it.
Cavassier. It's a little spicy over there, Cavassier. Hey, welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward. It's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid.
My man, Kiazi cracking me up in the chat.
Hey, I see you, dog.
Yeah. There was some activities going on last night. We had some party favors going around. We'll just say that.
Some party favor. I know how Woodward Sports is. I've been here for a very long time.
You hip.
But them 10 parties, I remember.
You lucky you saved. You know we have you doing it too. My man saved over here though.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad some of y'all wasn't here at the start of Woodward. Hey,
ruin your whole image.
Welcome back, man. Hey, it's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, credential Pistons reporter, writer for the network. We got KG up here on the desk, filling in for our brother Flannel Sam Reynolds, Red Wings correspondent, all sports knower, our brother, man. We wish that we could be breaking this down with you right now, but I am very, very happy for you to be able to take some time away with your wifey, man. So enjoy the time, and we cannot wait till you get back. We miss you, but we do got KG up here, Detroit's #1 draft pick. You guys already know, already a part of the Woo crew. We got that dude Justin in the building. Shout out to our brother Matthew Broder.
Big
in the
shout
sound
out.
booth, we got Cavassier Chase. And in the TD booth, we got JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP, who has just been absolutely cooking up. And chat family, if you haven't gotten the opportunity to, let's run up those likes. Get those likes up.
Help us out. We working hard, man. Did overtime last night.
Hey, and you know, before we get into the Victory Tigers for a little bit, you know, because I know Justin, were you in the building for? Did you tap in at least a little bit for Tigers?
Yeah.
Okay, dope. Keep that because you already know we were all tapped into Pistons last night.
Well, I was too. I was at the game.
Huh?
I was at the game.
You were at the game.
And he was still watching the Tigers. Because that's right? Just did.
I thought he was at the Pistons game. That's why I'm like, how was he Tigers content too?
Justin could be in 2 places at once.
I know.
We this squad, man, we're it's dope. But
Justin, how can you be locked into the Pistons if you're watching the Tigers? Neil Rule voice. You're not a real fan.
I only missed a couple innings because I can't lie, I was locked in on the Pistons game. But once the Pistons game was over, I started watching the Tigers game on my way home. They were down at that point, 4-2, and I got to
see the comeback.
Yeah, I got to see the comeback, so it was really nice.
I was like, I know they're not about to lose. I saw the 4-2 as well.
Yep.
Hallelujah. I saw 10 before I took off my do not disturb. 10-4, dog.
Bullpens do big things in baseball. I mean, the Angels bullpen just completely collapsed, and then our bullpen sits there, gives a scoreless inning after scoreless inning, and we just come back and win the game. I mean, that's what good teams do.
Hey, well, you know what? The early results on this before we get into some Tigers. What's your grade for JB Bickerstaff for this playoff series? 43% of the people say A.
Hey.
41% say B. 12, actually it's now split. 42% A, 42% say B, 12% C, D, 3% F. I don't get that one. There must be some trolls in the chat.
No, they just mad about Asar not getting minutes. That's why. That's what they upset about. The 5 people that voted F, they mad about Asar not getting the minutes in the third, man.
Weezy D313 said he knew that this Pistons team would be there. And Organic Lindo said he's one of the ones who gave him an F+. Come on,
I rock with Organic, man. Shout out, man.
Skewing the polls, man. But get in there and definitely vote away.
That's a close poll, though. Like, very close.
It is very close. I think it's appropriate either way. You know, it's a situation where you know, if they win, then everybody gets an A+. Movies and stuff. Knicks own y'all. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, good luck in the next round, buddy.
Yeah, good luck
Bing
with
bong.
that shit.
Yeah, Celtics minus 900.
They
Get out of here.
Destroy the Knicks in the next round. What the Pistons did is really expose a lot of flaws in that Knicks team. That's what they did.
Boston is well rested.
They rested. They've been watching film. They watching all the games, watching you struggle. Like it's gonna get bad in TD Garden.
I think they're gonna hit him with that K Cunningham defense. They're gonna blitz Jalen Brunson, bro.
What?
Yeah, but early offseason outlook, and we got to talk some Tigers. You know, I saw that one of the notions is, do you bring back Beasley or Schroeder? I believe you do what you have to do to bring them both back.
Yes.
I believe this is a team that you can run some things back with. Are there some people on the fringe of this rotation that, you know, you probably have to move on from if you're talking about improving your top 8, top 10? Yes, and that might push some people in your top 8, top 10 in your rotation down that much further.
Yeah.
But you got to take that next step forward. I do believe it starts with keeping the core of what got you there, keeping the heart. You know, the guys and the vets are that much more important. Think about how difficult it was for them to find the right vets to put around them.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to change that up if you can help it, but I do trust Trajan Langdon. But as it relates there,
just for reference, do you want them to make relative smaller moves, or do you want them to take the big swing?
Part of me, you guys know, I've been talking about take that big swing for a long time. But that was also because we didn't know what we did or didn't have.
Right.
Now you see this team take one big step forward with a competent coach. Kay Cunningham was stepping in to stardom. And he doesn't even have an equivalent teammate yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I'm just like, you know, if you get him that equivalent teammate like we've seen in the rest of this NBA, where does he go from there? But when I do look at the equivalent teammates in the NBA, what am I seeing? Either these teams mortgage their future. So like the Minnesota Timberwolves, they mortgage their future to go and get Rudy Gobert there. And now they were able to rely on him in that closeout game against the Lakers. Ant-Man didn't necessarily shoot the best, and he had some turnovers that game. But they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But when you kind of look around, the majority of these kind of double stars and foundational teams, they're drafting their guys. When you look at the Boston Celtics, they made some shrewd moves leading up to being able to draft these players, letting these players develop. You don't think that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum heard a lot of the same criticism that Cade Cunningham did? Yeah. Of course. But they were able to make the right selections, and with that internal growth, they were able to find their star players. That, to me, is what's really been the underpinning for teams like the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors, who have won multiple championships. People can talk about KD, but they won championships with their drafted players who stepped into stardom. And that's where I do believe the Detroit Pistons, they're going to have to get some major internal growth, like I told you, from guys like Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren. They're going to have to start to step towards stardom. That's the only way that the Detroit Pistons can really maximize this window, because Cade Cunningham's max contract starts next year. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have Jalen Duren and Ivy over the next couple off seasons who are eligible for contract extensions. Asar Thompson starting next off season, who becomes eligible for contract extension. And then you're also talking about what are you doing with Tobias, with Malik, and all these other people. So, you know, I think more importantly than what you do to go out there and find that next star, it's about what you have here with your controllable, cheap assets right now who are going to still play very important roles for you.
No, absolutely. And I feel like, you know, most people want the big swing. I'm kind of in favor of that. If you can facilitate it, I absolutely want you to take a big swing. But if they decide not to do that, I think if you can keep the core of this team together with some of the veterans that they have, you pointed to Malik Beasley and Schroeder. Those are the two that I would look at as well. Is Tim Hardaway, is he off the books?
1-year deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
So if I had to pick two out of those three, it would be those two, and Tim Hardaway would be on the outside looking in. And that's no offense to what Tim Hardaway, he brought a lot to this team this year. But can you improve at that position? I think you can.
If Ivy was here, it would probably be a little bit of a different story.
Exactly.
And, so,
there's still questions around whether Jaden Ivey can take that step too. Remember, he was 17 points a game, second on the team in scoring. He did seem to take a leap in a lot of categories that we need him to take a leap in. So there's still questions as to whether he is the number 2 going forward.
I do like Tim on this team. I just don't know if the role right now as starter is the right fit.
He would have to go to the bench.
Yeah, he would have to. And I do believe that it would be awesome if these guys understand that they're wanted here, which they do feel that, and they all have ties here. Tim Hardaway became and grew into a man here.
Absolutely.
You know, in this state, and he loves it here. So who knows how this thing works out, but my hope is that they can find a way to improve that starting lineup without necessarily losing the vets.
No, absolutely. And one of my ideal moves, or a few of my ideal moves, would be you can take a swing, but it can be a lower tier swing, kind of like in the vein of Miles Turner or John Collins. You can go get a stretch 4 like that, maybe move Tobias to the bench as your 6th man going forward. And if you keep Beasley on the team as well, that's a pretty formidable bench unit, especially if you can re-sign Beasley and Schroeder. I think you going into the next season looking real, real good. And if you can go get somebody like a Miles Turner, who is great on both ends of the floor, he can stretch the floor, he gives you defense. Somebody like a John Collins that plays a very similar game. Yep. I feel like if you can do that at a cheaper scale, that would be great. But of course, fans are going to point to, oh, Zion's available. Oh, could they go get Giannis? Do they have enough to go get somebody like that? The move
showed us that there is meat on the bones out there. The Beasleys, the Hardaways, the Tobias Harrises. Yeah. That was a $26 million deal for Tobias. And you know what? I do believe he was worth the dollars this year. He brought a different level of toughness, especially in his playoffs, and I believe that he gave them a punching chance as well.
Oh, absolutely.
As any other Detroit Piston that you would of these vets. But you said something that I believe wholeheartedly in. If you're going to make a move, I'm hoping it's for one of those incremental ones. They showed that this is a 44-win team. You want to be able to add to strengthen their weaknesses. You also want to be able to add to bolster their strengths.
Yes.
You need some more ball handling on this team, and I agree with this. Andrew Maggie, if I'm saying that wrong, I am sorry.
Shout out.
Says, we need a bigger guy to match up to someone like Cat. We need a reliable three-point shooter and some aggressive players. Not sure you can teach these things to a current player or not, though. This is where you go in and you're grateful for the evaluation that a Troy Weaver did to be able to identify players like K. We know K. Cunningham was that guy, but like an Isaiah Stewart, who unfortunately wasn't available in the series.
Right.
They're going to have to do more of that as it relates to their free agent approach. Are there those guys out there that you could bring in? I like a John Collins type to be able to fit in here, not necessarily your star guy, but he's going to bring you some double-double appeal, stretch the floor a little bit, and bring you some physicality on a night-to-night basis.
And another guy you brought up, OG Anunoby, him and K talking after the game, he would be a great fit here. But you need somebody that can kind of play both ways, but majority can go out there, stretch the floor, and open things up for everyone else. That's where I would like to see this team go. Could you argue that they need a wing that can score? Sure. If you're not certain about the shooting guard position, could they go out and get a 2 that can be dynamic? Sure. But I think the focus needs to be on getting that stretch 4, because you got Isaiah Stewart, who will be back next year. I think you're good at the center position with Duren and Isaiah Stewart, but that's what you need at this point. You need somebody that can still go out there and provide offense, take pressure off of Cade.
And I see Alan W. said, don't y'all think Tim and Bees both coming off the bench together would be redundant, though? No, because Tim can play the 3, and Tim plays a different brand of defense
a little
than
bit better,
Malik Beasley does.
Slightly
There's times,
better.
and you see they use Tim Hardaway as a screener for Cade Cunningham and Malik Beasley. There are times when they do play together. So, no, when you kind of look at what their skill sets are, they can absolutely come off the bench together. I love that type of spark between Mike James and Lindsey Hunter. Obviously, their thing was about defense, and that wasn't the only guard that they could roll off the bench. So, I don't know. I like it. I'm not saying that I'm pushing to re-sign them both and bring them both off the bench right now, but I'm okay with it. I like the core of this team. I like the vets that we have here right now, and I'm not against it if they were to be able to.
I don't even think you got to worry about it, because I think they would only keep 2 of the veterans that are up for free agency out of the 3. And like I said, I would have Tim Hardaway on the outside looking in. Maybe the Pistons view that differently. But if you can have Tobias go down to your bench with a Malik Beasley and just some of the stuff that you have already down there, let's say you re-sign Schroeder as well, that's a really good starting bench unit. And then I don't know if they keep Sasser and people of that nature as like just a another scoring option off the bench, but they have the makeup. I don't think
I'm intrigued by third-year Sass, but it's I'm intrigued. Though.
Yeah, no, it's a conversation it for sure. I don't think Fontecchio will be back as well, so you kind of need another wing player. It's a face, though, the face. But I think you need another wing player coming off of your bench as well. But, yeah, that's how I would play it. 2 out of those 3, Schroeder and Bees. The Fontecchio face is crazy. We love Fontecchio, too.
I do.
He's
such
cool
a good person, dog.
He
Got to
cool
interview him.
Cool people.
Remember
He
the
just not
charity
playing.
events you talking about? We got to go out there during the season of giving
We rock
Kroger,
with him, man.
interviewed him, and it was dope to see him interacting with the families. Because some of the players, you could tell, they don't know how to interact with these families, and they're just like, Fontecchio was like, all right, y'all, what we doing?
Right.
He was like, wait, what? All y'all getting is sugar? Get some. I need meat, cheese, this. I'm Italian. Like, let's right. It was dope to see who he was, but if there's any aspect of the player that we saw, the connection he had early on with Cade, if they believe any of that is there, bring it back on a much even cheaper deal and put him at the end of the rotation. Figure it out.
Don't see it.
But I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
It's unfortunate, man.
But
his start here was great. But
we're gonna talk more about these Pistons. We got 10 minutes left. I want to give the people want Tigers, a little bit of Tigers.
Yeah,
talk.
of course.
They did win. Let's hear from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi.
We gotta hear from Lady James and then Loom.
Hey, sound good.
Hey guys, let's be honest, and we can stay here too unless you have more commercials to show, JB.
Yeah, we'll do a short commercial break.
Dope. Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff, like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated, like Lady James's haircuts for men. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Lady James's haircuts for men open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, I see you easy in the chat fooling. But Loom Cannabis, man. Shout out to the people at Loom Cannabis Co., one of our great sponsors here at Woodward Sports. And did you know that they got all the brands you love now for less? With unbeatable prices, a wider selection, and the best loyalty program in the dispensary game right now. And y'all see the code on the screen. Get 30% off your entire order. That is online and in store. You cannot beat that. Get to Loom today, get that good product, and feel good about your day, man. It's Loom Cannabis.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Les Stanford, Buick, and GMC has great offers for everyone right now, but you got to go today, man. Get a 2025 Envision all-wheel drive AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the Hummer 2025 EV SUV for $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford, Buick, and GMC, LesStanford.com.
Hey, what up, though? People, welcome back to this Wake Up Uber. And I see this in the chat. C0313 should have got Edie. Zach Edey.
No,
he says him and Ivy have chemistry. Edie lost weight too, playing good, shaking my head.
He had a good start to his NBA career. I give him that.
I was the one on the show. I had him on my top. I was like, what about it?
No,
don't
tell that to Neil, man. Neil, they was destroying
I was not feeling it. I'll stand up. I was one of those guys in the room. I was like,
you remember when I was talking? I was like, what about it?
I thought he was too clunky for the NBA too. I didn't hate him as much as everybody else, but I did think he was too clunky.
I do
for
hate
the NBA.
Hey, but you know what? Shout out to Easy in the chat. It says smash that like button. Thank you, man. And make sure you guys
Damn
support
right.
everybody on the network. Big D Energy. Ermanni and Edwards, and those darn
Great day of
heavyweights,
shows.
man.
Great day of shows.
I can't wait because you know it's gonna be the conversations are going to be so different per show, and I can't wait to tap in. You guys make sure you're tapped in too. The Detroit Tigers, man. We got a few minutes. We're gonna talk about them and probably expand a little bit more on the other side of the weekend on the Tigers. They come back last night. They were down 4-2, and then they shut the door the rest of the way, and they come back 10-4. And you know what? I know someone was tapped in. That was that dude, Justin.
Wow, at the Pistons game.
What up, though, brother?
I mean, they start off slow, but Casey Mize, another win, moves him to 5-1 on the year. I mean, revelation continues to be impressive, but the real revelation last night was Javy Baez.
What in the world, bro?
I mean,
Hallelujah.
he might have been on the purest, and this is not true, but he might have been on the purest California cocaine possible last night because he was
robbing home runs, hitting home runs.
Hitting home runs, robbing home runs. I mean, that catch, he looked like prime Mike Trout out there in center field. Like, it was crazy, but. And then Torque hit another bomb, so I mean, shout out to Torque. He just continue to rip it up. And what was the last big thing that happened? Oh yeah, Nick thinks Dylan Dingler is on an all-star campaign.
I told y'all, man. Shout out to my godson from another mother. Dingler,
I mean, the Tigers are just playing great baseball. It just continues to prove how deep their team is. And you know, Casey Mize lets up a couple runs initially, but then he settles in, and you just allow that bullpen to take over the game in the later innings, and then the Tigers' offense is just relentless at this point in the season.
It's crazy.
Just continuing to just get balls in play, and then they get the timely home runs, which they weren't getting last year in those big moments to win those games and really swing momentum in those later innings. And the Angels' bullpen just completely fell apart, and that's why we have such an advantage as the Tigers with how good our pitching staff is, literally through and through, from our best starting pitcher to our worst bullpen pitcher. We are elite.
And it's a game you had to have. I mean, the Angels, for what they are, we all know that they are a struggling franchise, and you would like to see the Tigers get back on that track of winning series. But Justin, I wanted to ask you kind of what we were talking about yesterday. Do you have a new floor for this Tigers team, and is their ceiling really the World Series?
The new floor for me is winning the division. This division sucks. Like, I mean, straight up. Like, I don't want to be
talk your shit.
Giving low-level analysis, but like no team in the AL has even as good of bats as we do,
which is crazy,
which is insane. And then we all already knew that the pitching was the best in the AL Central. So, I think that is the floor, is winning the AL Central. We're clearly the best team. We might cool down a little bit at some point, but with the pitching, I still think we're just going to be so sustainable through the entire season where it's going to be consistent winning. I think the ceiling is the World Series, though, at this point. I mean, there's no other pitching staff that really is so deep. Like, I mean, in terms of just the AL, if you look just at the AL, no one's really showing anything special other than the Tigers. Like, the Yankees have glaring pitching issues in their bullpen and in their starting rotation, and they're what I would say is the best team. Or the Astros, who we just played, which might cause a little bit of concern. We did lose that series, but we saw last year we can beat the Astros in a playoff series.
Absolutely.
Especially when they've lost Tucker and Bregman, two premier playoff performers. So I expect them to make a deep run in the playoffs. I'm like getting to the point where I'm about to put in a big future bet on them to win the AL.
I'm not mad at that. And we all know that the pitching is going to be why this team gets as far as they get. But can the bats really be this consistent? Like we spoke to it, it's crazy to think that just in 1 year's time, the Tigers have the best offense in the AL Central. And that's something
crazy,
we were
bro.
begging for
Best
last
record
year.
in the AL.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I think the big question for this team is, can these bats continue to give you what they have given you, man? And that's really the question of the day. But what do you think, Justin?
I think they can, and it's just because we finally have that depth, and you're seeing guys who aren't even, like, we still haven't even seen Meadows or Vierling in the lineup yet, and those are two guys that heavily contribute, whether it's a left-hander or a right-hander. They both can hit both sides of the arm slots from pitching. And I think that adding Gleyber Torres seemed like such a minuscule add at that point, but he has been so huge for hitting left-handed pitching, a thing that this team has struggled for over the last 2 years. I'm currently trying to locate his OPS because I believe it's above it. Yeah, 835 right now. I mean, that's really good. Like, we're talking about a team. Last year, I think we had two guys over 800 OPS.
Yeah.
This year we have 1, 2, 3, 1 at 799 and 8. We have 5 guys at over 800 OPS.
It's nuts.
And almost the rest of our starters are above 700 OPS. So we're talking about a team of almost entire above average hitters in the MLB. And that's what wins you a World Series. When you have a lineup that goes 1 through 9 and every single guy is a threat, that's where you win your lineup's World Series contending. And then everyone knows our pitching staff is the best in baseball.
And at what point in time do we just lock it in and say, this is what this team is? Because, you know, one of the things we hear on the other side of this is, when will water meet its level? How long are they going to be able to sustain this? Or is this just a really, really good baseball team? Because the National, we went through this a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
The National people are starting to say, whoa, we looked into the Tigers. They're not just playing the Sox in the bottom dredges of the AL. They're actually going out here and against quality teams that put up a 13-9 record to start the season, which includes an 0-3 record against the Dodgers at the beginning, the sweep at the beginning.
Yeah.
And since that time, this team has been 13-6, blushing if I say 13-6 against the rest of those teams. This squad is for real, and that's just the last question is, how sustainable is this? Because we saw them last year go through a little bit of a dip, but as you're pointing out, the start of this season, drastically different offensively than the start of this one.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you remember a couple years ago, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, in the middle of the rebuild, we had that really weird start where we had the best record in baseball. It was the best start in Tigers history, but that team ended up being horrible.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to get until June and really see this team stay consistent, stay level, maybe go through a losing streak and see how they bounce back from there. And then at that point, you can really see, okay, this team has the depth. This team has the will that they can bounce back after bad performances and continue to go on streaks. And that's what baseball is. It's a grind. You need to be able to take those lumps. You need to be able to take those games where you're not getting the production from the bats and win with just pitching. You're going to have to win with just the bats sometimes. And I think you're seeing that. But I think you need a little bit more time before we're calling, like, all right, this team might be something really special and might have, like, a World Series in their hands. I think we need a little bit more time, and you need to make sure that guys like Gleyber Torres and Dingler and Torque are going to stay at this level. And because their water may meet its level to an extent, but I still think that they will all be above 800 OPS. All those guys, they've been hitting the ball well, they've been seeing the ball well, and then Hinch puts them in situations to succeed, which that's the biggest thing. That's why you see the guys like McKinstry and Dingler both having these breakout seasons, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, the approach at the plate is totally different for what we've seen in years past. But, you know, we into May now, and a lot of people are going to start talking about trade deadline. Should the Tigers be buyers, especially if they continue to play the baseball that we've been seeing so far? There's no reason why they shouldn't be. And I know there's early rumblings that maybe somebody like a Cedric Mullins can become available. Mm-hmm. But if he's not the guy, do you have a guy in mind? And should the Tigers be buyers at the deadline?
Yeah, I think yes. I think you should. There's going to be a move out there where you give out some low leverage prospects, and you're going to be able to add just the last thing I think this team needs, and that's one more right-handed bat that really can bring a thump in this lineup. And
is it a particular position you would look at? Because I think
it was shortstop for a while.
Oh yeah,
because there was rumors about Bo Bichette, and that obviously is very intriguing. I'm a big Bo Bichette guy.
Yeah, but
as this season's going on, and if Javy keeps playing consistently,
you want him to stay out there?
Like we might be in like a month or so. We're hitting a territory where is shortstop still a position of need?
Tell
like
me this,
I don't know.
How much is the robbed home run right now contributing to your?
Well, that's not contributing. I'm purely the bat.
Yeah.
If he's giving us around MLB average OPS, like it's got to be a question if he's going to be sustained as your starting shortstop. Like I don't like it either. But like he still has that potential in him, especially when you're an exciting team. And you still have to remember this guy, when he is in and he's locked in and he's fully in, he still has that in him. He still has that Cubs run in him.
Yeah.
Like he's still that guy in his core. Like he still walks around with that confidence and that swagger, and he may not have been playing like it for the past couple of years, but it's still in there somewhere.
Don't let Neil hear this shit. Still gonna lose his shit.
Hey, solo cameo real quick. Javy, where can we all go and get this hip surgery?
Right.
His hip
A miraculous hip surgery.
What the
Changed
frick
his
is
whole
going on
fucking life.
right now, dog?
That is crazy.
His career was left for dead, probably even by himself, dog. What the heck has happened?
I'm not ready to say it yet, though. I'm not ready to say that he's definitely like I'm penciling him in. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to leave him out there. And of course, when Parker Meadows comes back, that's gonna put all that to bed because he needs to go back to short.
Yeah.
Trey Sweeney has not had the best year. He's had moments, but he hasn't had the best year so far.
He's regressed.
But I mean, where would you look? Third base, maybe. I feel like maybe they could use a third baseman.
I would
still.
definitely look at third.
Yeah, I know Matt Vierland's supposed to come back, but you can use depth there.
It just depends on who's available because, I mean, obviously there's guys out there who you'd love, but at the same time, I'm not bringing in a lefty third baseman, a left-handed hitting third baseman that can't hit off lefties because then you're just adding another specialist in our lineup. We don't need another specialist. We need someone who can be more of a consistent player, even if it's just hitting against right-handers, because we have so many guys who can hit off lefties. We don't need any more or off righties. We need more right-handed bats.
Yeah.
And so I think that being able to secure another right-handed bat, whether it's a third baseman, a shortstop, or even a corner outfielder that if you decide that Carey's not going to hit against left-handed pitching, then you got to go get a right-handed bat that can play right field when he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, Chase said that yesterday. Shout out to Chase.
And I see Skydog in the chat, as we're winding down, he says, Justin, I would be stunned if the Tigers add big money players even by the trade deadline in 2 months.
I mean, I think that the Scooble deal would have to be done for them to actually be looking to get someone big in free agency. But I'm not. There's always guys who move around who aren't big that always serve value. Like one of the guys who always is moving is like Jock Peterson or a Jorge Soler. Like those guys are always available. They're always trying to move to contenders. They always sign short-term contracts. Like someone like that, like a little bit of a journeyman guy who can be a specialist for you. He's not worth anything. You can give up the lowest of level prospect that has any potential, and you'll get someone back. Like Jorge Soler, if you want to talk about someone who would be interesting, I would be interested in Jorge Soler to play right field if Carey's not hitting against left-handed pitching. Jorge Soler mashes left-handed pitching. And that'd be someone who can add that thump to your lineup. That's someone who can go hit a home run in a big spot for you.
My Tigers fans at this point got to realize the move. Scott Harris is not looking to make the big money move yet. He's trying to build through the youth, and that's why you're going to see a lot of these low-tier moves. But to his credit, a lot of them have worked to this point. So you got to give him credit for that.
Well, you know what? That is a show, but just want to make sure you guys know what the Detroit Tigers are doing on the season right now with a .625 winning percentage. They are up a whole game and a half over the Guardians.
Wow.
And moving in the right direction. They have a plus 46 differential between runs allowed and runs scored. That puts them at the top of the division. The next closest team is Minnesota with plus 4. They are 42 runs better than the next closest team in the division. Everybody else is in a negative. Cleveland, negative 24. KC, negative 5. Chicago White Sox, negative 24 as well. And we talked about Kansas City Royals. Yeah. They're going to be a team that I think is going to be sneaky because their pitching is getting it done. Yeah. Their pitching they're right behind the Tigers in all of the AL as it relates to runs allowed. And then when you look at the league, the AL, the Tigers are at the top of that. They are 1 game ahead of the Mariners, 1.5 game ahead of the Yankees and the Guardians. And then you got Houston Athletics and the Royals right behind them. So their work is cut out for them. They have their destiny in their hands, but the Central, as it relates to the Guardians and the Royals, I don't think that they're going to be slouches. They're going to have to continue this pace, or I do believe one of those teams could have an opportunity to trip them up.
No, at this point, you expect them to win the division at this point. So,
all right, is that a show?
I believe so, man. I'm tired as hell.
Listen,
it's time to wrap this shit up.
Shout out to you too, man. Anson as well. Chris Platty.
Yep. Great time with Anson last night. And shout out T-Foss as well.
Neil, they got T-Foss. I know there's a lot of people who are just Pistons heads, covered the team, still work with the team.
You know you love the teal.
And it's pretty dope to be able to see these guys be able to have this opportunity. I'm especially happy for a guy like Chris Platty who, man, he's been looking forward to something like this for a long time. And he took a big step forward as it relates to our coverage during the playoffs, and I'm happy for him. I'm very, very happy for him. Happy for you. And Anson Wells, who that guy's Pistons passion is so crazy that he throws all of his Lions logic out the window. Yeah. I agree with Stick. It was crazy to see. This is like Two-Face. Hey, Lions Anson versus Pistons Anson is crazy. Everybody loves Pistons.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy. But shout out to this network, man. Golly, shout out to this network. Shout out to you guys for supporting it. The views were way up. Shout out to all the friends of the network out there. All of the people that we were able to talk to who were just walking by saying, what up, Woodward Sports, man? Y'all keep crushing it.
Yep.
That, to me, that meant the most. Hearing people like Sada Baby give us some props, that type of stuff means the most. Seeing Nick Koloff out there getting the content with Key and Peele type, like that, Keegan, that type of stuff means the most to me. But seeing the fans walk up to people like the Heavies and say, shout out to you guys, man, I'm telling you, it means the most. Shout out to our brother Flannel Sam Reynolds. He's out on vacation still. Can't wait to get you
Him
back
and LeBron in Cancun together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe you'll see
fishing.
Maybe you'll see Cade out there.
Gone fishing,
Gosh,
man.
it still
Bro,
hurts.
you want to know what hurt my heart the most? I was watching the NBA on TNT broadcast. That gone fishing graphic that they do when somebody get eliminated. It hurt my soul to see Cade and all the Detroit people.
Hurt my soul. They're gonna be at Belle Isle, man. Fish.
Soul. Right.
Shout out to the Pistons.
Damn, man. It's all good.
Shout out to our brother Matthew Broder, Willie B. We miss you too. That dude Justin in the building. What's up, my brother?
Hey, I'm happy to be here for the rest of the summer. I'm excited. And check out Woodward Wings tomorrow at 10 a.m. Last episode was, I believe, our first one that hit 1,000 views. So that was pretty huge. And then shout out to Axel Sandy Palenka, my boy. He made his Grand Rapids debut. And I was there covering it, and I got to interview him, and it was very special to me because that's a prospect, raised prospect I've been covering for 2 years now. I've taken a lot of interest in him, and I really think he's going to be a great player, so that was really awesome. So thank you to Woodward for making that happen, and to you guys for putting me on this platform for
That's another room we in, huh? Woodward Sports.
Hey,
and I heard something else. Isn't there some other big news that happened?
We gonna get to it, but real quick in Tigers news, we forgot to bring this up. Kenta Maeda, DFA. No more
Thank
Maeda
God.
watch for Big D Energy, man. I'm kind of upset about that, but it was a long time coming.
Before we leave, I know you were pulling double duty last night, Kool-Aid. I know you were pulling double duty last night, KG. I appreciate you guys holding it down for the Pistons, but did you know that we have a guy in this building that pulled double duty last night that nobody knew about? Did you know that this man right here, sitting in front of me, is the son of John Mason, or he is Mason? Look at that photo and tell me this isn't Mason.
Hey, it's identical, JB. It is.
And listen, I don't want to say anything negative about JB's pops. I don't know the man, but all I know is John Mason could be his pops. And that's no disrespect to the family. That's but when I see that picture, when I see JB peek up from behind a microphone here at Woodward Sports, all I can think of is him doing intros. So while your voice hurts, KG, imagine this. He had to do the whole game last night.
That's real, man. That's real. And listen, if I'm Kelvin Shepard, then JB is damn sure Mason.
Oh, come on.
Hey, just say Chauncey Billups real quick. Please say it real quick.
No, you have to. You have to.
I'm not doing this. No.
Come on, JB.
No, I'm not doing this.
You already do it with Nasty.
I'm not doing this. No.
He do it. Nasty and Chauncey. One for the people before we go.
No, I'm not doing this.
Come
No.
on, JB. Come on.
Cameras on them, though. That's Woodward Sports TV.
Oh my God.
With Stick, the godfather of Woodward Sports. What up, though?
I can't believe you got that picture over here so quick. Like, Jesus.
I wonder what he's working on.
I know. I wonder what he was working on, but man. Amazing show, fellas.
Detroit, out of bounds, on the side.
Oh my God. Detroit, it's time to meet the ballers.
That's the funniest shit, bro. Holy shit.
Dog, we got Kavasi and Chase in the sound booth. What up, though, brother?
We gonna find your doppelganger in a minute, too. I'm sick of y'all. Everybody finna get a doppelganger now. Everybody. Sharon Moore. We got Mason. I'm Kelvin Shepard. We gotta figure out what's going on with Chase.
I mean, I can switch up my look too much, so.
Oh, okay. Man of mystery over here.
But
Carmen San Diego.
Carmen San Diego.
Carmen San Diego.
But yeah, I mean, shout out you guys. Hopefully we have a fun weekend. Kentucky Derby this weekend. You guys know that?
Hey, I did.
Yeah. Toby Keith's got a horse in it. The Rendered Justice. Shout out Toby Keith. You know.
Shout out Maz, man.
Yeah.
So fan, so.
Yeah. So shout out Toby Keith. Shout out the horses this weekend. And I hope you guys have a good one. Cinco de Mayo when we come back on Monday. So
shoot,
a little fiesta for us maybe.
Oh yeah.
But
Southwest on tap that day.
Yeah.
Get through the weekend, people.
Other than that, hopefully it's a fun weekend. Hopefully it warms up, stays sunny and stuff, and we'll see you guys. Like I said, see you guys back on Monday for a little bit of fun.
Hey, we definitely will. And you guys remember the ticket guy that E&E generally has on their show?
Yeah.
His son walked up to me last
Joel
night.
Schwartz.
I told him I would shout him out. We're gonna play his content next week, but shout out to him. He walked up right up to me. He was like, "I love what y'all do." He just started talking. I'm like,
"Yeah, we support him at the network."
Like,
yeah.
Joel Schwartz.
Yeah, Joel Schwartz. That's his name. Yeah, I was like, me. He's like, yeah, Kool-Aid, you, bro. I'm like, oh, snap. It was like 3 of us sitting there, and he was like, yeah, bro. Like, I thank you guys for what you do, including my dad. He was like, we got some things cooking up. We'll say that, man. So, hey, we got Detroit's #1 draft pick and Rookie of the Year, and you got that Woodward Sports MVP now. Doing a lot, man. It's good to see everybody get upgraded to some degrees, and that is KG up here in this desk.
And credential media.
Tell the people, because Woodward Sports is in more room.
Shout out to everybody that supports Woodward Ringside. We are here to bring you that announcement that me and JB are credentialed for AEW Dynamite and Collision that will be in Detroit May 7th. And May 8th. So
we'll be in the building.
These guys got a hot credential.
Yeah, we gonna get a lot of content, man. So for my wrestling fans, stay tuned. But we appreciate all the support on Woodward Ringside, man.
Let's go. Keep
Hell yeah,
dog.
Good
Keep
email
crushing.
came through this
So
morning.
you telling me that Woodward Wings got some credentialing. Woodward Ringside got some. The first 2 new shows off the mat.
Yep.
In a matter of months.
Yeah.
Shout out. Thank you guys for supporting. Stay tapped in. I'm telling y'all, please continue to support. We have so much more we want to bring to the network. Support also what we got going on with the Chase Lounge and Fast and Loose. Tap in. You're going to start seeing some of that content on the main channel soon as well. It's your boy Brandon Dan, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. And I got to tell you guys, thank you for Woodward Pistons, Woodward Sports, Wake Up Woodward, all of the support throughout this Pistons season and beyond.
Yeah, you
and
deserve
I'm telling you guys, thank you so much, man. Have a blessed day, you guys. It's been Wake Up Woodward. Smash that like button on the way out if you haven't gotten the opportunity to. And get ready. Big energies on the way. Let's go.